everybody, and welcome to Big Think Dimension, the only gaming podcast for the modern GigaBrained Gamer. I'm your host, Dan Video Games, and with me, as always, our online co-host, KZXcellent from KZXcellent.com. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
And Mr. Field from Mr. Field's Wild Ride. How's it going?
I'm ready to give my psychic takes.
And Bob. Hey guys, how's it going, Bob?
He's bending spoons for the podcast.
Fucking Alakazam ass Mr. Field.
So my brain was that big.
So, if you haven't listened to the show before, what we do here is it's like a weekly gaming news podcast where we're going to recap what we've been doing lately, what the news is, and then we're going to take fan email. But unfortunately, we haven't gotten fan email. So, as always, I have prepared a new segment for the end, but we'll get to that later. Anyways, hey, what have you guys been up to?
I don't know how to deal with you going, as always, and pretending this isn't the first episode.
You know, that's so you, KZ. You always do that on this show.
If you don't know what we're about, meaning everyone who's ever going to listen to this,
we're all nobody's help. So, I figure we'll talk about what games we've been playing lately. Bob, what games have you been playing since last week's episode?
I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
I actually finished The Messenger.
Whoa!
Right?
You beat a video game?
Wow! It's one of the very few games I've had a chance to beat.
Well, Bob, that has instantly raised you to the upper echelon of game and journalism.
Oh no!
what'd you think of Messenger, Bob?
I should just let myself out.
Yeah, what did you think of The Messenger, Bob?
The Messenger was pretty good for the first big chunk of it, and then it splits off into this thing where it wants to be a Metroidvania, and it's really bad at it.
Yeah, it wants to be a Metroidvania, and but it continues to be structured in a linear fashion, so you're going backwards through these fairly linearly structured levels.
Yeah, there was one point where I literally had to throw myself into spikes and damage boost all the way up this ravine. It was awful. It's like, what are you thinking?
There's definitely parts of the game that I think are very funny and well done. Like, you switch between the future and the past in this game. You start in the past and you go to the future halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the past is 8-bit and the future is 16-bit.
Yeah.
And there's like a catacombs level that is NES Castlevania in the past and Super Castlevania 4 in the future.
Yeah, no, that's pretty neat.
They do lots of neat touches, and I think the comedy writing is legit good for the shopkeep.
Yeah, no, it's surprisingly good. The writing, yeah.
There's stuff there that's like really good, and then there's stuff that's bad.
There's stuff where it's like the loading screen might say "Who let the dogs out" while it's like respawning you.
Yeah, most of the
Man, I love snow dogs.
And then there's stuff like the Cancerverse level, which I can't decide if I like or not because it's so far out of nowhere.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
You go to the far, far future to get the
thing.
music note, and it's the Cthulhu universe,
Right.
where everything's made of meat.
I thought that was neat.
I thought it was neat, but it was so far out of nowhere that it was just strange.
So, KZ, Mr. Field just spoiled a lot of The Messenger. Can we spoil Final Fantasy 15 on this podcast? Because you didn't let us on Gamer Premonitions for Big Hero 6.
I haven't played this game, so I have no concept of what you're saying half the time. I just heard snow dogs or who let the dogs out. I got really
It's like,
excited.
KZ, you said snow dogs.
Don't worry, Dan. I spoiled one 20-minute level in a 15-hour game that's probably should have only been 10.
Bob spoiled the conclusion of a potentially 80-hour game.
Yeah, that was what? I'm sure everyone who's going to beat Final Fantasy 15 has already done so, and it was perfectly fair ground to spoil that game, right, Bob?
Totally.
Yeah.
And honestly, that game should have been 10 hours, so it's fine.
It's not even done yet. It's not even going to be done until March when episode Arisen comes out.
I don't know, Bob. I
I think that's just going to be an anime, so I don't know.
Yeah, what's
No, the anime is a prologue.
That blew my mind. I was like, they just shut down the DLC plan. Here's this anime.
That anime is the Kingsglaive of that DLC.
What happened is they didn't want to make a bunch of new assets for the past, so they just made all the past section an anime.
It's sad.
It's sad when, your big multimedia experience or transmedia event, thank you, is, in fact, a cover up for budget constraints.
I feel like that's all of Final Fantasy 15. You're right.
Oh my god.
Nah, the fishing was good.
It's very obvious that Square Enix was like, no. Like Tabata gave them the budget for the DLC, and they're like, we have to sell a second season pass to like 1 million people to break even on this. No.
He's like, I believe in my fan base, and they're like, you shouldn't.
I would have bought it.
I mean, at this point, why not? Wouldn't that be a hoot? Sure. Add more shit into this game.
Instead, I just get to feel like a fucking dipshit because I'm going to install a 70 gig game again to play a 2-hour DLC.
Oh, man. That's good.
No.
See, that's why the feature on the PS4 where you can install games to an external drive is so freaking helpful, because this gen has been rough. I don't know how they're going to constrain that at all next gen. But Bob, have you been playing anything else?
I actually tried a little bit of Celeste.
I played that.
I haven't done much of it yet.
Did you just you beat the messenger and segued straight into Celeste?
Basically, because they gave it away free on Xbox Live Gold, so I got it on there.
So you went from a 7 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10.
Thereabout is what Bob is.
Right. I mean, it seems
The
good
Frozen
so far.
of indie platformers.
There's some weird stuff like that Pico 8 version of the game they show in there.
The Pico 8.
Pico 8.
Yeah. It's like Pico de
It's
Gallo.
it runs terribly.
See, I feel bad that I didn't research Pico after that whole thing, because I was like, isn't that supposed to be a fictional system? So this thing is in essence emulating a fictional system in the game. Thus adding, that's right, people, we didn't even get 10 minutes into this podcast series before I rolled it out. Input lag.
I'm dying.
But Bob, pretty good so far?
It seems pretty good. I'm getting used to some mechanics. It seems like it's really strict in wanting you to complete things in a very precise way.
You can fudge it a little bit, but it generally wants you to do things the way it wants you to do them.
I keep hearing from people it's kind of like if Super Meat Boy had tighter controls.
Yeah, or as I say, if Super Meat Boy was good.
Right, that's what I said, basically.
What if Super Meat Boy didn't inexplicably control like Kid Icarus if you were really fast and could jump really high?
And then suddenly in re-releases got a worse soundtrack.
Oh my god, did that happen?
Yeah, they patched out music from somebody because the contract ran out, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's rough. Man.
I think it's Danny B who did the
Danny
soundtrack
Baranowski.
for also the original Binding of Isaac.
Yeah.
And then they just switched it out with stuff that doesn't sound very good.
Wow. I'm just surprised here because it's like, these are indie games and we have Japanese level contracts for music and or voice acting. Like, imagine guys.
At least it wasn't fucking MIDI.
Imagine real quick that the re-release of Freedom Planet on the PS5 can't have one of the characters' voice actors, and they had to recast because the contract was too fancy.
Maybe when they have to recast Freedom Planet, they'll finally do the voice actor playthrough that was part of the Kickstarter, and they never did.
So here's the weird thing about that: they have cutscenes in the game where if you hold specific button combinations, they say secret stuff.
They have commentary for the cutscenes, but it was like they will do a in-character playthrough on a stream, and that never happened.
Did it not? Man. Nope. I mean, I did the one voice actor I was friends with on Facebook, I'm no longer friends with because my review came out.
Ruh-roh.
So, it's kind of reasonable that I didn't know whether or not the
friendship
voice actor.
To last.
Clearly.
That's what Facebook's friends are, right?
You would think I actually reamed the voice acting for that sort of thing to happen, but no, I actually didn't negatively comment on the voice acting itself at all. Bob, have you been playing anything else?
Not really. That was it, basically.
Okay, so
enjoy Celeste, Bob, because it's about 30 hours long if you do everything.
Oh God, I should stop. Just stop getting the strawberries. Just give up on that.
Those B-sides.
They don't. That's a good idea, Bob, because the strawberries don't matter at all.
I got trophies.
Bob beat the Pico 8 or Pika 8 emulated game.
I've crashed into Celeste for like 25 hours over the last year, and I'm like have finished 5 of the B-sides. So
That's
there's
rough.
2 more.
I know each chapter seems way too long. Like, I feel like they need to split it into more sections. I get what they're going for, but oh God, It's a platforming level. Please just let it stop eventually.
No.
How far did you get, Bob?
Only chapter 3.
The levels do get a little bit long, but since you can just restart from whatever the recent screen is, it really doesn't bother me that much. It's not really any different structurally than Super Meat Boy is. It just doesn't have a map screen.
Yeah, I don't know. I like having a good feeling stopping point, so just putting it down in the middle of a stage doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
But I get that you could just stop. It tells you down on the pause screen even if like, hey, just stop whenever.
It's like, don't stress out, man. You leave when you feel it's right. I wish more games would tell me that.
But yeah, it's talking about the messenger. That the bit with the hat. That was my favorite part of that whole game, writing wise. I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's a really funny hat bit.
Okay, cool.
I love hats. You're
Yeah,
getting me interested in playing this game.
I like how Dan said he wishes more games would tell him it was okay to stop, presumably so he could ignore them. Birth by Sleep is just like, please, Dan, stop. And he's like, never.
Finish it. Not until one of us is dead.
We also played Burst by Sleep.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping you would forget, so I had anything to bring up in my what I've been playing.
I won't take it.
Segment. Oh, thank you. Hey, KZXcellent, what have you been playing recently? Oh, wait, sorry. What have you been playing since last week's episode?
You know what I haven't been playing, Dan?
What?
The Bouncer. Because fuck that shit.
God damn. You gotta play the Bouncer, otherwise the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3 really isn't gonna make any sense.
It'll just fall flat.
It's okay, I'll read a wiki. That's all you need to do to understand Kingdom Hearts lore, I've heard.
You'll just be like, who's Dragon Mike?
What?
I love it when I reference KZ's own jokes and he's like, what jackass would say that?
I'm brilliant!
Oh, it's mine.
That joke wasn't even from the death stream, so KZ really has no excuse.
I mean, to be fair, I don't remember the Kingdom Hearts 1 stream at all, and I only barely remember the Kingdom Hearts 2 stream. I'm really glad that Birth by Sleep I was in a better state for, and I actually
I remember the
most of it.
supercuts. That's good enough.
Yeah, sure. That's good enough.
Yeah.
I'll try to remember the lore, and it'll be like, I think Terra handed Sora a gun. I'm not quite sure what was up with that, but
Hey, somebody drew it, so it's real.
it's canon now. That's how that works.
Dan just remembers his epic struggle against Winnie the Pooh, and he thinks that's part of the story.
I just remember Aqua, for some reason, was challenged to a revenge match against Winnie the Pooh on command board. Why was that a part of the narrative?
You lost in Fruit Ball?
Like in Dan's mind, it's just Kaiji, but with Pooh in the command board.
Dan, we're removing your eyeball if you lose.
So, what have you actually been playing?
I've been playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate because that's been a thing.
Yeah, it has.
I went on the journey to do every challenge in the game, and I did it.
Wow, you did it.
Wow, you're a maniac.
Yes, I accept that.
Did you use the hammer on any of them?
Oh, of course. But any of the
Sounds
ones
like
that
a
are
cheater.
incredibly hard, they have a blocker on, so you can't even remove the ones that are really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's rough.
Okay.
But Casey, that is exactly what I would be doing if I weren't drowning in production cycles. Like, I absolutely want to go and get all the challenges done in that game. It's so good.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, I still haven't been able to
Gotta
finish
go,
World Light.
gotta go run a couple of those streams and get kicked out of your own stream. But yeah, it's mostly been that because, videos, streams that are way too long, and other production stuff have kept me from doing anything else. But Smash has been fun. World of Light was cool. I did that in one shot. Probably shouldn't have, but I did it in one shot.
Good lord.
I did it in 2 shots.
I feel like I may end up doing it in one shot because I still haven't even booted that mode.
And now you're gonna have to stream it.
Yeah,
Here,
now I have to
let me give you some advice, Dan.
Yeah.
Giant metal Ganondorf.
Yep. I was giant metal Bowser and everything went down in one hit.
That's amazing.
I used Bowser until I got Ganondorf, and then I just switched.
You're like, Dan uses this, so it must be broken.
Dan uses this, and Dan loves being strong.
He has to be strong. One of the last challenges in Ultimate that I did was beat that final boss thing, which is a 15-minute sequence without dying once. And if you die, you have to start over.
I thought you just couldn't die in the boss part.
No, it's the whole thing.
But there's a separate challenge for not dying in the first part.
Yeah, that's another challenge. That one is not die in the first part as Ganondorf because he's the slowest character, and there's some vertical auto-scrolling section where there are bob-ombs everywhere.
Yeah, but they give you a jet belt, so it really isn't that bad.
Yeah, but he's also a really big target.
Okay, KZ, do not spoil this for Dan and Bob.
Of course
Oh,
not.
Bob's already beaten it, right?
No, of course not.
Wait, what?
No, I haven't had time to do that.
How
I would never spoil anything. I'm not Bob.
that thing at the very end, how sick was it when you realized what was going on?
Oh, that whole
You two
section,
are
I
killing
was
me.
just like, when did Smash become Kino? Because
Okay.
it's insane.
It's
You
the
two-
most Kino thing that has ever been in a Smash game.
So, KZ, you play anything else recently?
No, that's it.
Okay, well, Mr. Field, what have you been playing lately?
Okay, so for the past, this was on the tail end of my week, so I'll just bring it up. About a year ago, Tengai Makyo Zero got translated,
Spaghetti.
which is, I'll just say the English name, which is Far East of Eden Zero. And Far East of Eden is a JRPG series that started on the TurboGrafx CD, or PC Engine CD, rather, because none of them ever got localized. So I said, I'll play this RPG from this classic RPG series that never got translated. That game is not good.
Roro.
That's a little bit harsh. I'm sure if I had played it when it came out in 1995, it would have been fine. But you go back and look at it, and it's like every other game in this series is on a platform that lets it have CD quality music and lots of anime cutscenes and voice acting. And then it's on the Super Nintendo.
And it has all that, right?
No. It tries. It took years for them to figure out how to decompress the graphics on an emulator because it's fucking hard and has all kinds of special chips in it.
Yeah, probably it's like Star Ocean, where it has a really cool decompressor, like straight on the cartridge.
Right.
It tries, and it has like it might have the highest visual budget I've ever seen in a Super Nintendo game. Because they have like these anime style characters for your party while you're fighting, and there's 2 party members that are in your party for an hour, and then they leave forever.
What?
And they have all custom animations for their attacks and stuff.
So is this like a turn-based RPG, or?
It is a Dragon Quest style turn-based RPG.
Okay.
So first-person perspective? No, you just said
You're looking over the back of their shoulders, like you can see their backs.
So kind of like Lufia?
Kind of like
Yeah, okay.
but like zoomed in more, and they're bigger.
Oh, that's cool.
But sadly, that's where being cool kind of ends.
Yeah. Hey, for some people,
It's
that's enough.
It's like a Famicom RPG, frankly. Like there's a lot of follow the breadcrumbs to this next plot event where nobody really talks because none of the main character is a silent protagonist and doesn't really have a personality at all. There's only 2 other party members, and neither of them get really strong personalities. Although, they switch a lot.
Okay.
You have 2 party members, and both of them like change into a different form
So
and effectively become a different character.
that's pretty neat. Do you get origin stories for them, kind of told like Valkyrie Profile did, where you see a little bit of their backstory?
I have not played Valkyrie Profile, so I can't explain that.
I'm
But
floored.
basically, the first one is you meet an elf, and she's getting ready to die. So you go through a dungeon with her, and then she gives her energy to the next elf that's about to be born, and then a little ways into the next area, that elf comes and joins you.
Oh, wow. That sounds neat.
Is this? It kind of. I'm getting Final Fantasy II vibes. Did they just murder them like every other mission and then immediately replace them?
Well, the first one doesn't get murdered. She's like, I'm about to die and I need to give my energy to this. I say elf, but they call them fairies. I think they're more like spirits.
Okay. Espers.
Okay.
So she gives her power to the spirit egg so it can be born. And then the second one, I still don't exactly know what happened.
So this the story of like how a character is about to die and your main character comes across them. Let me tell you the split. Valkyrie Profile, you wait till they die, and then you're like, hey, upset soul, do you want to join me in my battle against Ragnarok? And it's like, I guess my life kind of sucked near the end.
Well, that makes sense because you're a Valkyrie and you have to get the souls of warriors.
Exactly.
thematically appropriate.
And then
By the way,
yeah.
you know Lizard Valeth, the villain of Valkyrie profile?
Actually, no, I don't. I never got very far into that game. It's hard.
Hey, let me tell you about Valkyrie Profile. I played like 2 hours of that game. It was alright.
Whoa, hey, 6, okay, buddy.
Did it have Who Let the Dogs Out in it?
No, but I was listening to it on my tape deck.
So what I was going to take this evil opportunity to bring up Dominic Deegan
Please
God,
don't
why?
stop bringing.
Oh, on the podcast?
because Dominic Deegan looks exactly like Lizard Valve, and it is 100% intentional.
Oh my God! Can we just not curse this podcast like your cursed Twitter timeline?
Okay, I'll move on to the next thing I played this week then.
Thank you.
I played Bravo Man.
What the fuck is Bravo Man?
I don't.
It is a very bad TurboGrafx game.
Oh shit. Okay, now I know what you're talking
And
about.
I played it because I was back when the Wii was a thing, I bought it.
Yeah.
Because I felt
Right.
I fell into Nintendo's trap of here's 3 games a week on the virtual console. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll spend a lot of fucking money on shit I don't want because it's there and they don't have the things I do want.
Gotta own them all.
And it's bad. It's like a lot of TurboGrafx games have this issue where, especially early ones, have this issue where our sprites are big and colorful like an arcade game. Here's a terrible game filled with big sprites.
Yeah, they were trying to do their best to differentiate themselves from the NES because it was really posed as a competitor to the NES, even though it came out so late in the United States that it became a competitor to the Genesis and then the Super Nintendo.
It
which
just
really fucked
feels
them.
weird because so many TurboGrafx games feel like mediocre
Yeah.
Famicom games, but
Yeah.
they look like Super Nintendo or Genesis games.
Right, they look like Sega Master System games, and they look like juiced up Sega Master System games, but they play like Sega Master System games. By the way, the Master System kind of sucks. Sorry, everyone. I'm sorry if that
And
upsets some Europeans.
there's like 8 different versions of Wonder Boy and Monster World, the Dragon's Trap. There's like 7 different versions of that on the TurboGrafx under different names.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Didn't that come out like last year?
A remake came out that has it's the exact same game. It is exactly the same.
It really is.
But it has drawn sprites.
Yeah.
Which makes it very strange because it feels like a Master System game,
Yeah.
but looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it's pretty. I think it's great.
A completely original sequel came out on consoles
Really
last
recently.
month,
Yeah. I haven't tried that.
and I have not gotten a chance to play it yet, but I do intend to play it soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping to check that out too.
I tend to wait until it comes out on PC because that's where I buy most indie games.
Yeah, that's understandable. It's a much longer term platform, kind of like in a way when you were talking about the Wii Virtual Console and buying stuff on that burn of these ROMs won't carry over forever. Like we still don't have a Virtual Console on the Switch, and even if we did, the likelihood that you would get a title to a game that you bought on the Wii is 0. Like, if they do launch a normal Virtual Console, you're not going to get those ROMs back. So buying things on PC is the antithesis to that.
I don't know if they're going to launch a normal Virtual Console because they're already letting people put ROMs up on the eShop under, like, weird names.
Yeah.
The dream is dead.
Oh, yeah, no, the dream is dead. I'm just saying in the fucking Hail Mary, like, freak occurrence that is, hey, guys, all we have for this year is Metroid Prime 4, so here's a Virtual Console.
Like,
They got Fire Emblem.
we're in this terrible timeline where somebody brought back Johnny Turbo to shill TurboGrafx games. You go on the Nintendo eShop and you can find TurboGrafx games under the banner Johnny Turbo's Arcade.
It's funny because
And he's in this, and somebody is making a Puzzle Fighter clone. I forget who the hell it is. And it has Johnny Turbo in it as a character.
Isn't that
I don't know
the
who Johnny
Nicholas
Turbo
game?
is.
Oh God, probably
The
is.
people who published Cave Story, Nicholas?
Yeah, it's the Nicholas one.
Yeah. I'm pretty interested in that game just because it's, it is what it is.
KZ, Johnny Turbo is a mascot character that the TurboGrafx CD had, and he is a Kevin Smith-esque chunky white dude with a beard, and a backwards baseball cap who is obsessed with the TurboGrafx CD, and he constantly fights these evil suited men who are trying to convince people to buy the Sega CD instead.
Nobody won in that fight.
That sounds raw.
He's the spiritual inverse of Segata Sanshiro, who just beats the shit out of kids who don't own a Sega Saturn.
So it's just homeless white Segata Sanshiro.
Yes!
No, he has a home. He shares an apartment with like this little dweeby Melvin guy.
Oh my god.
Why is there so much lore?
That's a great question. And I would love to dive into why there's so much lore, but I'm going to say one more thing before we move on to Feel's next game, if he has one. So we got our TurboGrafx in just this last week. We got it set up and stuff, and we started playing
Welcome to the 70s.
Ease 1 and 2. Fuck you, KZ. Ease 1 and 2. And Hail Xeon actually came over. And I was playing Ease 1 and 2, and he's like, I don't understand.
Johnny Turbo came over.
I don't understand the appeal of this game based on watching other people on the internet playing it. Like, you really just bump your dude into enemies? How is this game supposed to be difficult? Then he saw me get mauled by dogs, and he was like, oh shit, that turns real fast, doesn't it? I'm like, yeah, no. There is a weird small amount of strategy in how you're running around the field. And, like, the boss battles are really interesting, too. But a lot of it's aesthetic. A lot of it's the music. A lot of it is just the joyous aesthetic there.
Bump combat is Kino, especially in the remakes.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I actually do really enjoy it. There's, and you know, part of selling it to him, part of getting across how good it was, is working backwards from. So Half Minute Hero is a parody of Ease, and he's like, oh, okay, and I'm like, yeah. So they took the already short length of Ease and shortened it even more. So just extend it back out and add really good music, and yeah.
I somehow never realized that. I realized that the first Lunar game is a ripoff of East, but I never realized that Half Minute Hero was a parody.
Lunar is Kino, but only on the Sega CD.
Yeah, there you go. Wait, didn't
you're mongrel.
What?
He's
What?
Speechless.
I played that game. It was great.
I love versions of games where I need a special currency to save.
Okay, it was really good.
What in the world?
KZXcellent,
Hey,
like, I'm not
ink
going to play
ribbons,
the
man.
bouncer. The bouncer has
Okay,
terrible,
wait,
terrible mechanics.
I gotta blow Bob's fucking mind.
Oh no.
So, in the Sega CD versions of the Lunar games, you need to use the same points that level up your skills to save.
That's insane.
But that's not the most insane thing in the Lunar franchise.
Oh, Dragon Song.
The Lunar DS game,
Yeah.
Dragon Song, which nobody alive should play.
I beat it.
Whoa!
I don't believe you.
Casey and Xeon both beat that? You are both damaged beings. Like,
Okay. All
how in the
right.
world
Quick
you finish a battle?
sidebar on my experience with the DS Lunar game. I went to this had to have been like 2008 or so, whenever that game came out.
Yeah.
I went to a GameStop, and you have one of those ultra attentive guys who's like, "Hey, what you looking for?" And I said, like an RPG or something, because, like, you know, money was tight. I want something that's guaranteed to be long. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "No, this one's really good. It's called Lunar Dragon Song." And then he hooks me up with this game. I played it. I'm like, it's all right.
The point of my story, Bob, is that in Lunar Dragon Song, you have to go into a menu and select whether or not you want experience, money, or items, and you only get one at a time.
Yes. Yeah.
That is
so
genius.
Guys, this is year 12 of us listening to Xeon occasionally strike out by cursing that game's name. Like, it damaged him that much.
Because there's a bunch of quests in the game that are based on, like, getting items from enemies, which means you have to hit that button to not get experience to get items, so everything's even longer.
This is terrible.
God love it.
That's so terrible.
Lunar 2 is super Kino, though. There's a part where you have a dancer girl in Lunar 2, and she used to be a martial artist, and then you find out her master, who looks exactly like Master Asia, by the way,
Yep, of
is
course.
evil.
Uh-huh.
and then you go to a fighting tournament to stop him, and you get an anime cutscene of her throwing her dancer outfit away and putting this sick kung fu outfit on, and she comes out and she's an entirely different character with all different stats and moves.
Yeah, no, it's incredible.
That
I need to play
I need
two.
to play that game at some point.
Well,
It's been too long.
one didn't catch me that well.
The
but
Sega
two, I
CD
feel,
version,
is-
of course.
Did they even do
One
it?
is just a copy of Ys. Like, they have you got the blue-haired goddess, you got the ocarina, you got the guy who looks exactly like the villain of Ys.
That's the difference. In the Sega CD version, it's a harp. They changed it to an ocarina in the PlayStation version.
It's true.
Adol, the protagonist of Ys, is an NPC in one of the cities because they had to address it. Anyway, the only other game I played this week is the exact same one you did, Dan, so why don't you go?
So, hey guys, let me tell you what I've been playing recently. We did an 18.5-hour live stream on Sunday where I played all of Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep through.
Hell yeah.
Now, leading into this, a bunch of people led me to believe this would be an excruciating experience that I would want to become a gun owner before starting the stream so that way I could get out at any moment in time. But it was actually really good. When
Turns out you pass the ability of guns off to other people, in fact.
I probably led at least a little bit to that belief.
It's
and
true.
I vastly mischaracterized that game.
I mean, I thought I would literally be playing the same gameplay segments 3 times in a row. When really what ends up happening is most of the time you have novel content when you go to a world. You have completely original narrative content for the
Make
most
a dress when you're small. You love that.
and then you have Ventus's...
Bobbity boo.
Then you have Ventus's terrible first 2 worlds where it's like, make a dress for Cinderella and here's an escort mission.
It's fine.
And some characters even have like a little thematic thread going through the worlds, like Aqua's theme that seems to be get some dick, girl.
And Terra's theme of, man, what a dumbass, he is literally ruining everything.
I didn't really think that through.
Terra's theme of being Anakin.
Yeah, but he's way more
Anakin,
ripped.
but better, yes.
He's got a cooler suit and he's ripped. But yeah,
Anakin didn't talk to Captain Hook.
He's more handsome than Anakin.
I feel like Birth by Sleep is like...
Bar titties.
Terra didn't murder any children.
You're right. Aqua was the one who almost murdered people. You know,
That was entirely not her fault.
she was thinking about it, and then they blew up later. I think she wished it on them.
It's just the shot of Anakin about to kill the younglings, but it's Terra pulling out his Keyblade in front of Sora and Riku.
Are you scared of me?
Oh my god.
Yeah, Terra's got a great way with people when he introduces himself by going, "Aren't you scared?"
Because you should be.
Didn't I scare you? Yeah, because you should be. But yeah, no, that game was actually pretty good. I can't believe I enjoyed their Fortune Street knockoff command board
Can't
game.
believe it. You were so against it at the start, and then you're doing grudge matches.
Yeah, no, I always assume a mini game in a Kingdom Hearts game is a circle of hell. But
they're all
was
great.
real enjoyable.
You found no, they're not. Fuck you, KZ.
Fuck you, Fruit Ball
What are you
exists.
talking about? They're
Fruit
great.
Ball exists.
I failed at Fruit Bowl twice, and I wanted to kill myself.
Did you just hit triangle over and over? As it turns out, all you have
Just
to do
sounds
is
like
hit
your
triangle.
bad feel. That sounds like.
And don't worry, Dan. The next Dream Drop Distance doesn't have a single mini game you'll like.
I actually I like the melding system in Birth by Sleep. I thought that was a neat way to get new abilities.
Yeah, the melding
Yeah.
system is really good. Too
Yeah,
bad
it
they
is
took it out in Dream Drop
fantastic.
Distance and replaced it with something worse.
Yeah, that's really tragic because, you know, what was it? I was hearing that some people don't like the command deck, but honestly, like, we were booting up Kingdom Hearts 2 to make sure our 4K setup was working correctly and wiring optical audio cables across the room, make sure we're ready for the next stream. Because for those who don't know, we had a mild equipment failure that caused a 2.5 hour setting up the live stream the day before. It was a real nightmare.
You still had 20 more minutes of setup when we started the stream the next day.
Yeah, no,
and you were late.
It was real bad. But so we booted up Kingdom Hearts 2 just yesterday or the day before, just to make sure everything worked perfectly. And I don't know. I'm probably gonna piss some people off with this, but I kind of like the command deck more. Just
Like when I think about the command deck and the melding system and all this, images in my mind of people talking about how much they hate it amount to, I don't like the melding thing because sometimes I use stuff I don't want, and the other take of, well, if you like the command deck and the system is in Birth by Sleep, it means you don't engage with them enough, and you aren't woke to how bad they are yet.
Yeah, I could see exactly why that school of thought would exist.
I do think a lot of hostility to the command deck comes from you didn't experience this, Dan, because you played on beginner.
Yeah, I guess I should have clarified up front, because we're doing all these Kingdom Hearts games in a single sitting, in a single stream. I played through 1, 2, and 2 and Birth by Sleep on beginner.
In Birth by Sleep, and to a lesser extent Dream Drop Distance, it was real bad in the 3DS version, but since they actually had to remake that one for PS4, they fudged a lot of numbers and changed stuff. In Birth by Sleep, above beginner, your Keyblade just does not do damage.
Jeez.
Like, you will not do damage hitting things. You will be using commands for everything.
That's real disappointing, because, you know, the balance of the command deck on the easier difficulty sort of reminded me of Castlevania games, where your GigaBrained Castlevania games, where your weapon is important, but you also have souls and stuff, and what you're doing.
It comes down to your level.
Yeah.
And here's another thing, that this is purely me being upset at Square Enix because they didn't do this. Are the triggers used for anything in Birth by Sleep?
No, they're for cycling up your commands up and down.
Yeah, you can use them for that, which I found helpful.
They should have just given me 2 sets of 4 shortcuts.
Yeah, that probably would have worked out better, but I still appreciate that it went up and down.
Instead, they give you options for what you want them to do. Like, there's like 2 or 3 different presets of what buttons do what, like changing your lock on and changing what cycles through commands.
Yeah, I probably should have used those, but I was also playing on beginner, so it doesn't matter.
And what sucks is if you get used to how Birth by Sleep cycling works, Dream Drop Distance is different. And there's no preset that works exactly the same.
Well, I'm looking forward to next Sunday, where we beat it in a single sitting.
Don't worry, KZ will teach you the ancient art of balloons, the only art that matters in Dream Drop Distance.
And the ancient art of candy and quitting out immediately to get the points faster. That'll be fun when we meet Pokemon.
Oh my god. So moving on from that, we got that TurboGrafx. We needed to test it out. When it first showed up,
that's where we were.
16.
Oh wait. I have one more good point. You know Chain of Memories?
Mm-hmm.
Chain of Memories is in Dream Drop Distance as a mini game.
How is the entirety of Chain of Memories?
The entire combat system is in Dream Drop Distance as a mini game.
Okay.
It's a little different.
Okay,
yeah,
so
it
it's not the
cards.
plot of the game.
Oh. Okay.
It is not.
Oh no, there are full plot summaries of every Kingdom Hearts game that appear in that game whenever they reference an event from it.
Oh my god, it's like the Metal Gear Solid 4 cutscene mashed triangle thing.
It's like, do you want to see this cutscene explaining this? Hit yes or no.
Jesus
Oh yeah,
Christ.
because it's a portable game, they had this issue of they're like, we can't throw like every cutscene at you because they don't want people like on a train watching a 20-minute scene of talking about darkness. So they will occasionally go and put a flashback on screen that you have to hit yes. But some of them are just because the Disney worlds are bad and they didn't know where to put the scene, so they just make it a flashback scene.
Yeah, so it's like, watch this flashback of something that happened when Sora wasn't around.
Okay,
I'm really
that sounds
looking forward
great.
to that
I'm looking
stream now.
forward to it.
I'm getting pumped.
But yeah, we got our TurboGrafx 16 in. We're leaving Kingdom Hearts as a topic. We got our TurboGrafx 16 in. And a lot of people don't realize there's a really weird design thing about the TurboGrafx. There's an expansion port on the back of it that's about 56 or so pins. See, there's a loose plastic shell that covers the back of your console. And I don't know, it hides the power cable. So it looks a little nice, but no, it's mostly covering this 56 or so pin port on the back of it. And it's just fully exposed when you remove this giant plastic shell. So I bought a thing. It's called the Super SD System 3. And that thing plugs into the back. And it not only allows us to emulate the CD attachment and the arcade card and the super card, it also gives us clean video out. But there was a problem with ours. Our TurboGrafx 16 showed up with the right channel audio pin pushed in. Like someone tried to hook a thing into the back of it and the pin got pushed in. So right channel audio didn't work when it arrived. So I'm talking to a guy at a local game shop. I'm like, yeah, this problem's happening. I guess I'm shipping this back. And he's like, well, those pins are really sturdy. I've never had one pop out. You know, if you bring it over here, I can fix it really easily. And I was like, if he's never had one pop out, why don't I just pull this thing out and, you know, get it to normal length? So I did that, and it actually worked, which was a weird experience. I expected that to rip off, and for me to go, oh shit, I broke $100.
This is usually what happens when you try to fix a technical problem. It gets worse.
Casey says this because he's scarred by that 2.5-hour setup. Casey, you do not know the depths of insanity that was early GigaBoots. We would finish a 50-minute video recording and go, it made the wrong boop sound. It's all gone. Let's do it again.
Your insanity is calling me at 5 a.m, saying you can get a tripod and a phone camera to show me the bouncer while cackling.
I am trying to get
Didn't you have some horrible audio problem during Mega May that made you almost die?
So that wasn't down to our equipment. It was more of Mega May was one of the first times in forever we've done long-term recording, you know, like full hours of content. Sonic Month was the last theme month we did since Mega May, and Sonic Month was 2013, 2014, somewhere in that range, whenever they added 60 frames per second to YouTube. Anyways, you do a video that long on basically any capture card, and your audio will start to desync and drift. This is a pretty normal thing in general. In fact, like on movie sets, they use time code between the camera and the audio recorder to make sure they're synced up to the frame. Otherwise, it'll drift as well in that case. But in the middle of Mega May, I started getting comments on it. I think it was like halfway through or 2/3 through Mega May, people are like, the audio sync's really bad. And then I started looking into it, and I'm like, Jesus, how am I going to solve this? Maybe it was only halfway. So I spent half of that month where at least one video a day is coming out, most days 2, cutting up the audio and resyncing it over blank spaces. Like, you know, in NES Mega Man games, you kill a boss, it's perfectly silent after it stops playing the explosion sound. So it cut the audio
you can
there
cheat with that
and resync it. After Mega Man was over, I finally invented the solution, which is real awesome. It's great that I know how to do that now, and it's not that hard. But good God, like, that sucked. That was the worst freaking possible time that could have occurred, was in the middle of a themed month with, what was it? The original plan was 69 videos.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, it was 2 videos a day plus 9 more, and we were on track to tackle that. And then that happened.
Mega May, 2.5 months of content.
Yes! Welcome to Mega May! By the way, I expect that from you when you do your eventual Sonic month after the Mighty Number 9 review comes out. You know, there are a lot of Sonic games. You're going to have to do 2 videos a day.
This podcast is running a little long. We're not even in news yet.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, fine. I'll
KZ
move on,
rapidly
KZ.
throwing his smoke bombs down to vanish into the night.
Yeah. But yeah, in any
Throw the
case,
smoke bombs and go to the bathroom.
rolling back to our original thing, I fixed the TurboGrafx 16. Now we just have to send that Super SD System 3 off to some modders, because these guys make a $300 accessory for your old retro console, and it's kind of engineered wrong. Like, the audio is so loud it clips, and the video is so bad it looks staticky by any standard. Like, it's got crazy artifacts all over the screen. So we got to send that out to a shop to get it fixed. And then we'll be able to do something with this for the channel. So look forward to that in like 2 weeks, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, I played a bunch of TurboGrafx 16 games, like China Warrior, which is the exact thing Phil was talking about, of your character's as big as the screen and the game is shit.
But did you play Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu?
No, but we did play that on the NES one time.
You should probably give it a chance.
The TurboGrafx CD version is the same, but like it looks much nicer. It's fine.
I've actually seen it before. It does actually look pretty nice. Oh, man. Anyways, I'm really excited for Dream Drop. I'm really excited for more TurboGrafx 16 games. Hopefully by the time we record next week's podcast, I will have more specific things to talk about from what I've played recently. But
you play the Super Kino Blazing Lasers.
Yeah, that sounds like a shmup. That sounds like a TurboGrafx game because most of them are shmups.
You can play Super Mario Brothers 2?
Super Mario
Not
Brothers
on
2.
TurboGrafx.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I know, just in general.
No, that's for babies. I
Better
own a
than Mario World.
TurboGrafx. I play cool games like Keith Courage.
I thought you were going to stay silent for like a minute straight.
You could play Legendary Axe. That's Kino.
Legendary Axe is pretty good. So okay, we're gonna go ahead and now that we've finished the 10-year trek to finish talking about what games we've been playing, it's time to go to news. KZ, what's the news?
Well, I believe you suggested we do Game of the Year related stuff as well.
I figured we would get to that after the news and then wrap up.
All right. I'm driving a car now. All right. So we have our news roundup for our 85th episode of the Big Think Dimension.
It's been a great show, you guys.
Yeah, you guys are the best. I don't know what happened with the emails this week. It's just
technical problems. Technical
problems and GigaBoots completely unrelated.
Exactly.
Our first story of the week. Blizzard quietly confirms that Overwatch hero Soldier 76 is gay.
Okay, so they came out later. Like, at first, people were like, is he bisexual? Is he gay? What's the deal with this? Later, they came out and confirmed, oh, no, he's just gay.
Oh, okay.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's neat.
This is coming from us in the new short story titled Bastet. Blizzard confirms that Soldier 76, a.k.a. Jack Morrison, is the second LGBTQ character in the Overwatch universe.
I think, how long has it been since the Tracer thing? 2 years? I think it's
2 years.
Yeah, it's been about 2 years.
It's actually to the day. I just have to know.
It's
no,
not
it
to
was
the day.
It was based on a Christmas.
Yeah, the other one was a Christmas thing.
they did.
Oh, it was a month.
Yeah, so it was a little bit more than 2 years.
They just have a clock that goes off in Blizzard HQ.
I honestly, I expected to go
Activision is eating us. Let's release this.
They won't stop vamping our soul.
Every single time we've been in the news in the past 6 months has been a bad thing. Release it.
I honestly just thought it would be a press release of Soldier 76 is gay now, and that's all it is.
Yeah, not even a comic, just a press release.
Yeah, just a press release.
It popped up on Twitter, a couple employees being like, in the wake of Blizzard announcing this, here's my horrible employment experience at Blizzard where they did many nasty things to me.
Great.
They hit me with a golf club.
God, that is so close to that Riot experience like a month or two ago where they're like, here's our new gay pride character or whatever. And then
We're
people
being
are like,
sued for being a frat house.
Right?
Here's our new gay girl.
Because that's the thing. I'm not sure how much you read up on that, Bob, but it is straight up frat house. Like the dude smacking other dudes on the butt and farting on people and what? It's insane.
Didn't they fire the designer of that character?
That was a different character, and that turned out to be false.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so it's kind of freaking hilarious to me that they're like, by the way, Soldier 76 has been gay this whole time, and you guys didn't even know. And before they can finish that sentence, their employees are on Twitter like, help us.
And then they throw smoke bombs and leave.
Although I'm going to cleverly segue into another news story now. So
Whoa.
get ready, KZ.
Oh no.
They probably
man.
should have. Activision probably should have got them to wait, because boy, do they need good news after today's news story.
I don't know. Today's news story was good.
Probably the biggest news story of the week. Bungie splits
of the
with
year.
Activision, keeps Destiny. So there were some murmurings about. I saw Jason Schreier tweeting, yeah, apparently there's some meeting with Bungie and Activision. Apparently the Bungie staff are really jazzed about it. We'll have to see. And then you learn they escaped.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely amazing. Like, I have a giant pressure off of my chest for the first time in 7 years since they made that deal. Like, when they announced the Destiny deal, I looked at Bob. I was furious. I was like covered in sweat. I was so angry. I was like, they escaped Microsoft to stop making Halo, and the first thing they do is sign a 10-year deal with Activision to make annual release of this game? And
you weren't supposed to know about the 10-year deal. It was leaked.
Yeah, I know I wasn't supposed to know, but it still is just like, oh God. For those who don't know, that deal came out just because of the lawsuit with Frank Sabella And
Oh yeah, the Infinity Ward stuff.
Yeah, the Infinity Ward stuff.
It's the other messy
separation.
Messy situation.
My favorite thing about Bungie splitting from Activision is the guy who, the former dev from EA who got on Twitter and was like, back when I was at Raven Software and we got sent to the Call of Duty mines, somebody was like, what are you going to do if you have all your developers making Call of Duty? Who's going to make new IPs? They said, don't worry, we have Bungie for that.
Oh, oh Lord. Yeah, I mean, you can look at
this part kind of messed with me a little bit.
Yeah.
Where in their blog post today, they said, we've enjoyed a successful 8-year run and would like to thank Activision for their partnership. Time is killing me. 8 years.
Destiny didn't come out until like 2014, so it really hasn't been 8 years.
But it's been 8 years of developing it, because they started development of Destiny before they even left Microsoft, really. There are parts of Destiny that show up in their most recent Halo. What was their last Halo? Reach? Yeah, it was
right,
Halo
Reach, I think.
Yeah. So it really, they have been working on it for a really long time, and they signed that deal. It is hilarious that they got out early, and I'm really glad about that, because if you look at Destiny 2, you see the direction that's going in. You're seeing how many Activision studios showed up to make the damn thing, and you just go, no, this isn't sustainable.
Yeah, that was High Moon, Raven, and like one other, I think.
Yeah, the other one was the people who handled some of the Tony Hawk porting, I think, and they handled the PC release of Destiny 2.
Oh, I thought you meant the people that made those Tony Hawk games.
Yeah, yeah, so it was really scary seeing, like, I don't know how more game journalists aren't seeing the situation with Destiny 2 and just being worried about Bungie. Like, I haven't heard that expressed by anyone, but I just got a huge amount of anxiety every time I heard about Destiny 2. Every time I heard about, like, here's all the people handling the game itself, and then here's all the people handling the DLC, and here's all the people handling the PC version. I'm like, I know how Activision works. This is a power play. They're trying to downplay Bungie's importance in making a Destiny game to outsource all of it, so that way, when Destiny sells, the revenue is split up between 4, maybe 5 studios, and now Bungie has less independence from Activision. But then Bungie signed that deal with, what's it, NetEase or whatever, because they're making that other game
for $100 million.
$100 million.
Whoa.
Activision did not see that coming.
I did not know that it was that big.
Oh yeah, they're making a big thing.
Yeah,
with
they have
NetEase.
a brand new game in development now.
So it's just amazing that Bungie made their way out of the Activision, like, space worm with their fucking IP intact.
They got Destiny.
They got Destiny 2 to sell so little, Activision didn't even want it.
I don't think they did that. Destiny 2 strikes me.
Activision still wanted it, I guarantee it.
See, yeah.
They're probably so pissed about all of this.
I'm positive.
I don't think they're pissed. I think Activision, if I was Activision's executives, I'd be fucking scared.
Oh, yeah.
Because things are not going good for Activision right now.
See,
they're already very obviously trying to cripple Blizzard so Blizzard can't escape.
See, pissed and scared is public face versus private face.
Yes. You're wearing the mask, but you cry like on the inside.
He's crying behind the mask.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I'm so angry right now.
You can just see the influence that Activision had on Destiny 2. As someone who really enjoyed Destiny 1, because I got in during the Taken King part, so I didn't see any of the bad stuff.
Yeah, it drastically improved.
Really enjoyed it. And then they showed Destiny 2, and I was like, I know this looks samey, but I'm down. But then they're like, oh, the multiplayer has been cut down to 4v4 instead of 6v6,
Yeah,
so it's a lot more boring.
Yeah,
and everything, it just felt like they took things to make it more appealing to the casual audience, but the entire hardcore audience is screaming, this is bad. So they've spent up until Forsaken to make it like the old one again and make it really fun.
What it comes across to me as is like Destiny 2, and this is really what you're saying, but just a different way of phrasing it. Destiny 2 is a game that was entirely shaped by the surveys that Activision sent out and asked people what is in other popular games. And as Destiny lost a huge chunk of what its identity was going into Destiny 2, it was kind of gross. Like, the game opens with one of the most hand-holdy segments in a game anytime recently. And it just, you look at that and you go, look, Destiny 1 storytelling, nowhere near perfect. But holy God, is it preferable to this?
We just got a game that had to desperately and slowly turn around and get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad it did, because the core Destiny gameplay is fun. So I'm really pumped that they can potentially make something a lot better eventually, now that they're independent.
Who's looking forward to Sony buying up the Bungie exclusivity?
Oh my god!
In publishing the
they really love Destiny exclusive strikes. Maybe they can take the whole game.
Right? They might actually do it. That might make sense to Sony in a way that so many other moves don't. For example, that kind of lines up with the Kojima Productions thing of like, is this a sustainable move that's smart? Probably not.
People really identified Destiny with PlayStation, I think, given the amount of exclusivity it has on everything.
Well, that's also because like everybody jumped ship to PS4 because Microsoft fucked up so bad launching the Xbox One.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Sony is in a headset right now where they do that. Like, I don't even think the Kojima Productions thing would happen with current Sony.
Oh yeah, because House is out by now, right? Because I remember that was a thing last year.
Oh, let me brief you on the recent employment changes at Sony. Everyone is out. No one was there a year ago. It's amazing. Like, I go and watch an E3 from like 3 years ago, and it's like none of these people are here anymore.
I miss Adam Boyce.
Yeah, I do too.
Adam Boyce is great.
I miss my boys.
Isn't he at Iron Galaxy now?
Yeah, he's at Iron Galaxy. He's in a better place.
He took Dave Lang's job.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you think they'll get the composer back now that they don't have to deal with Activision?
Oh god, that would be so good. Do you know how much of a groundswell like feel good story of the year that would be if like Bungie was like, yeah, we got our man back.
That'd be the biggest middle finger in the universe.
It really would
happen.
It'd be like, oh, what a mystery.
That's one thing that really killed too to me.
Yeah.
The idea of a Destiny 3 where it's really good and does everything you want, man.
I mean, at this point, I really think The Taken King was an amazingly good example of how they could fix that game. And if they just made a Taken King style thing that they spent 2.5, 3 years on, I think that would easily be, hands down, the best Destiny has ever been. Because The Taken King, it made a lot of smart changes. It didn't lose the core of what made Destiny Destiny. You know,
I got into Destiny really hard.
We aren't leaning on Cade 6 or what's the number?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Okay, Cade
No,
6. We aren't leaning on him because he's the
gone.
only celebrity we have that anyone can recognize. But yeah, I know he's gone. By the way, hey, he just spoiled Destiny 2. Did we spoil Final Fantasy 15?
That's
trailer
in the
spoiled
ads,
that.
asshole.
I know.
Oh man, if Final Fantasy 15 had endgame spoilers in its ads, that would be pretty cute.
I mean, I was actually watching.
It did, but not that one.
I was actually watching KZXcellent's 2013 Final Fantasy 15 trailer reaction video recently.
It was a long time ago. It was a different time.
Right.
That was a different game.
Right. I'm like that. Watching that trailer.
Okay, yeah, it was a different game. That was a great trailer of lies.
Like, I'm just watching it and I'm like befuddled, and Bob's like, that didn't happen. That didn't happen.
That's
not
in
like,
the movie.
This character isn't here at all.
Yeah, he's not real.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe we should move on to the next. I mean, I feel like this is the best. What was it, Bob? You said it was the best news of the year?
Yes, which is easy. We're early in the year.
News story of the year.
It is huge and surprisingly positive when you hear about those splits where it's like, oh no, who's gonna make Destiny? Oh, they got it. They got the baby.
So how about we go from the best feeling story on this list to the worst? KZ, what can you tell me about Tecmo Koei and what they trademarked in the U.S.?
Oh god, now I see. Near the bottom here, this was submitted by Feel.
Of course.
He titled it Pathetic, Worthless Game, Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z, trademarked in U.S. because we live in a cold, godless world.
And he's correct.
I stand by that.
That's some good.
That's right.
That's good journalism.
They won't give me ports of the Ninja Gaiden 1 through 3, but they'll do Yaiba. The Madman.
Wasn't there some Ninja Gaiden related thing that had Beck in it?
This is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Beck
good.
from
Will it
Mighty
come
Number
over?
9.
That was a great part of that game, I guess.
I don't know why this game came out in the United States. This would be for like an HD port.
Yeah, I don't know if the game is even recognizable running at frame rates above 19 frames per second.
I played it on PC, so I didn't have that problem. It didn't really help. It was still the worst thing I've ever played. Makes me want to shove knives into my eyes thinking about it.
It is really freaking bad.
Yeah, but I think we did a quick look quick play.
Yeah,
we
we
got
did a
like
quick play.
one mission in, and I was just like, I can't do anymore.
It's so unbelievably bad. Like
all I heard was its announcement, and that people said it was terrible.
It was made by Spark Productions, and if you don't know what Spark does,
Spark Unlimited.
okay,
Spark Unlimited
here's what Spark Unlimited does.
Yeah.
When a company says we want to have a game made, Spark Unlimited says, here's the. They almost let me say that this is just what I heard. This is not what Mr. Feel, is saying. This is just hearsay. That they basically super lowball the bid and then make like trash shovelware and just pocket the money.
But that's just a rumor. You read that on a message
That's just a
board.
rumor.
Yeah,
I read it on
4chan. Have you seen those videos?
I read it on 4chan. It's probably all bullshit. Please ignore the fact they also made Lost Planet 3, which is just as bad.
Yep.
And I believe they also made Legendary, which is one of the worst first-person shooters I have ever played.
Correct, I think.
So we actually have a list of games from last gen that are terrible, like the worst of the worst. We realized we have enough games from them to fill a weekly schedule for a whole month. They have like 4 of the worst games from last generation.
Yeah, they're miserable. And I don't understand, like, Tecmo, here's something I didn't know. I learned about this in the last week because nobody talked about the Neo DLC at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ryu Hayabusa's ancestor is a boss in the Neo DLC.
Yeah, I mean, in Neo,
and he uses all of Ryu's Ninja Gaiden moves and ninja magics.
Yep. It's pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
I actually didn't play the DLC because I usually get my fill of Soul-style games when I see credits.
So they do that, and then they're still fucking bringing back fucking Yaiba.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It sounds like you're getting the shakes.
Let me imagine if just out of nowhere Sega was like, we're doing an HD re-release and PC port of Sonic 06.
No, that's more respectable. You know why? Sonic Man is in that, and Sonic Man is fucking hilarious.
He is incredible.
Sonic 06 is at least intriguing.
Yeah. And let's be real, that game runs better and is better than fucking Yaiba.
Yaiba is it's like a bad version of Lollipop Chainsaw, and Lollipop Chainsaw was already a 6.
Yeah, no, it's like a broken, technically troubled version of Lollipop Chainsaw with even fewer functional mechanics. Oh, and a really terrible sense of humor, like way worse than Lollipop Chainsaw.
Yeah, do you want to hear I think it's Steve Bloom. Do you want to hear Steve Bloom making really horrible innuendos?
Yeah, here's $60.
And
Thank you.
And seeing like a zombie girl puke and being like, that's hot.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that game's terrible. We should just move on.
I got to the fucking end of Yaiba. Do you know how
What
pathetic?
is wrong with you?
Do you know how pathetic and miserable the very idea that this worthless, edgy shovelware fuck could stand up to Ryu Hayabusa for half a second is?
Why do you play all these games?
So do you actually fight him at the end? Because he just kills you at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, you have like a really long extended fight sequence with him where you kind of win.
What? How'd they even prove that?
And then Yaiba is like, I'm not going to kill him. I'm kind of a good guy now, I guess.
At least he learned a lesson.
So Keiji Inafune was involved with that game. Weird.
Mysteries.
I do like that I get to be the person listening to someone else rant about a Keiji Inafune game for once. I like that it's not Dan yells about Mighty Number 9 for an hour. It's Phil is dying on mic about fucking Yaiba, which is fair. That game is really bad. I'm glad it's not me for once.
I'm gonna power up Dan immensely with what I'm about to say next.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
When Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z was first being shown, I thought, that looks bad, semicolon. but it probably isn't. Surely Kaiji Inafune wouldn't let the first game that has Beck in it be bad.
Yeah, that would be embarrassing.
The first in every game will be bad. Now his work is complete.
Now it's just consistent.
Man, when is Red Ash coming out?
I'm really glad you asked. It's coming out on that console that just crashed.
Oh man.
Soulja Boy's gonna
Dan,
get it done,
did you see the punchline to the Fuse console?
Oh yeah, that it became the Soulja Boy console.
Yes.
It's unfucking real. Yeah, the console that was supposed to have the Red Ash exclusivity transformed into the Soulja Boy console.
So what you're trying to say is that if we connect everything together, the creator of Mighty Number 9 is Soulja Boy. The father of Mega Man, Soulja Boy.
I could train my entire life in the dark arts and magic and still not be able to curse Keiji Inafune's creations to a worse fate than the Chinese console that you were supposed to be exclusive to became the Soulja Boy console.
He had to lawyer up, all right.
He said Nintendo ain't gonna do shit, and then the spirit of Yamauchi just appeared and killed him.
He said that, and within 20 hours went, I had to lawyer up.
Everything is canceled because Nintendo is going to kill me.
I'm not going to prison.
Their current offer is if I give up, my death will be swift.
So KZ, what's the next bit of news?
All right, so we're gonna do a block of news related to Capcom stuff
Okay.
because there were a few announcements
Sure.
for various different games. First up, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen is coming to Switch in April 23rd.
That's pretty hype.
Neat, that game's good.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, yeah.
I've heard nothing but good things about it, and apparently has an intro song that's hilarious.
It's removed from all the versions.
It's removed
How
from
dare
every
that?
version.
I think it's like the wind is pushing you.
Yeah, it's amazing. I had to go buy it on my phone.
It's the Dragon's Dogma version of
I've
Indestructible.
listened to Maximilian do it 10 times.
It's from the really good period of Capcom games last gen where every one of them had a really cheesy song as the intro, and you can mod it back into the PC version, which I did.
Oh, nice. I didn't know you could do that.
It's going to be coming out for $30, so it's not too steep.
Oh,
either.
wow. Actually, that's kind of staggering.
It's not like when they were selling Street Fighter 2 Ultra for $40.
No,
Yeah.
it is not like that. Dude, $30 for Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen portable is pretty insane.
I wonder how it's going to run.
I don't know how they're getting that to run. I looked at the footage of it.
Yeah, I figure if they do the CinemaScope widescreen, because for people who don't know, the original version of Dragon's Dogma actually has a letterbox top and bottom because that helped them just squeeze the extra little bit of performance out because they didn't have to render those parts of the screen to get it to run remotely well. So
And the MT framework wasn't really made for games like Dragon's Dogma.
No. I mean, honestly, around that time, I feel like running a game that is that ambitious was hard on any engine.
I still am upset we never got that online version they made for PS4 because they had lots of new weapons that looked really cool and magic spells.
Well, you say
all
online
sorts of cool.
version, but it's like an online game.
Yeah, it's a totally separate online
game. Dragon's Dogma Online. Yeah, I'm still disappointed that we didn't get that. It's like an MMO with a subscription, right?
I don't even know if it has a subscription.
I thought it did, but I may be wrong. But yeah, I really wanted that, honestly. It's the only MMO. It's probably, oh God, am I going to say this? Fine. It's the only MMO since Final Fantasy XI where I looked at it and I went, holy shit, that might be really cool. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go get my Monster Ultra low carb.
So KZ, what was the other Capcom news?
Okay, I don't initiate. So our second story in the Capcom block, the Resident Evil 2 remake is getting a one-shot demo that should be out today, January the 11th.
Get ready to make dummy accounts to play it over and over.
Wait, does it really
So
have a
they've
limit?
decided to make the one-shot demo a 30-minute demo where you run around, play through the game to try and complete it. But if you run out of time, you're done. It's over. Make another account so that you can play it again.
Bob, finally, all those years of us making so many PlayStation Network accounts in Spain and Hong Kong and Japan, it's finally had a point, Bob. Spain! Dude, they got the only version of a certain game with an English version.
El Narchu.
It just, look, it made sense at the time.
You'll also be treated to a trailer no matter what happens once the 30 minutes ends. So that's
apparently, like,
to check out.
If you die, you can like continue in from the room you died into. So they're really trying to just let you get through that demo in that 30 minutes. But if you don't use it,
oh wow,
dead.
Use your time wisely.
I'm interested, but I'm not going to download 35 gigabytes for a 30-minute demo.
I will do that with a fucking smile on my face.
That's because you're a maniac, Dan.
A maniac with a 4K
our
OLED
speeds
TV.
are good and yours aren't.
My speeds are fine. I just don't want to download 35 gigs.
That data cap.
Data caps are fucking terrible.
My data cap is really high, but people live with me who stream Netflix fucking 24/7, so I have to be a little careful.
This is where I point out to Feel that our next move after here with our 300 megabit download speed is to some city with Google Fiber. Because it's like bandwidth caps are terrible. Like the absolute worst. But
Yep.
I Feel you don't understand. Resident Evil 2 is like one of my favorite games ever. I need this more than Bob needed the Devil May Cry demo.
For this.
I get it. I'm just a sane person.
No, you're not.
Weakness, foolishness, Feel.
In this manner, I am a sane person.
In this manner.
We have an external hard drive for a PlayStation. We got this Xbox One with Baylor racing on it. We're good. We're ready to go.
Yeah, we're good.
There is going to be a lot of downloading in your future because on February the 7th, we're getting a Devil May Cry 5 demo, and Xbox's curse on Devil May Cry 5 has ended. It'll be on both PS4 and Xbox.
I'm really glad because we actually planned on doing a button-to-pixel input latency video on the Devil May Cry 5 demo, but I was hoping they would release a PS4 version so we could have some, comparison other than Devil May Cry 4. And then that never happened.
And this one will be different as well. So.
Yes, so I'm very excited for this.
Yeah,
apparently they said bash baddies with the new Devil Breaker punchline and take a look inside Nico's shop. You can even save your game, giving you a chance to play through as many times as you need to fill out Nero's move list.
See, Bob, I'm not sure if you're kept up to date. I'm not sure if you're really read up on Devil May Cry 5, but the punchline Devil Breaker is when he looks at panties and his nose bleeds and then there's a nuclear explosion.
Stop!
Silence.
The wholesome podcast.
Punchline's weirdly a really good anime, you guys. You're gonna have to trust me on this.
But really, the punchline arm is the one, the rocket punch you can ride around on. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty psyched.
So it's pretty amazing. Guys, Feel, KZ, does this tell us how large this demo is going to be?
I'm looking at it. Let's see. No, I don't see it anywhere.
So do you guys plan on Feel? Do you plan on downloading that demo?
Maybe.
I mean, judging by the,
it's coming out. It's coming out in December, or February. I'm having a stroke. You see, what happens is you read the story, and then you see the first demo released in December, and go, "Well, that's clearly the date it's coming out, right?"
I'm saying these words right.
I might, but on the other hand, 45 games are coming out between the end of January and Devil May Cry 5 actually coming out, so I might want to stick to those.
You gotta preload Anthem.
We're all very excited for Anthem, audience. We're very excited.
You gotta make sure to play Anthem so you can talk about it on the podcast.
Gotta pick up your Xbox to get cracked down.
It's incomprehensible to me that Anthem is coming out in 6 weeks.
And yet you said that
It hasn't
right
been
after
delayed.
you said that right after Bob just mentioned Crackdown. That is the amazing thing to me. Anthem,
No, see that one makes sense to me because I long ago assumed that Microsoft wrote that out and how that game is only coming out because it'd be a bigger PR hit to cancel it.
you say that, but the last huge game on their platform outside of Forza was Sea of Thieves. So this would be 2 fucking duds almost back to back for Microsoft.
But that narrative of Microsoft once again canceling one of their exclusives,
Yeah, that wouldn't fly.
After Scalebound, after the Fable thing that apparently was like almost done.
Yeah, no, that thing was really close to done, and they canceled it. Like
they can't do it again.
It's cruel.
Them showing the trailer for Phantom Dust at E3 after they had internally decided to cancel it.
Yep.
Microsoft is doing great this gen, guys.
Like, I really think they're just
trying
like
to set up their counterattack. Crackdown's just the leftovers.
Yeah, I really think it's just gonna be like, fuck it. We have all these new studios. We'll launch a counter assault when we launch the new platforms. We're gonna have the best one because of our machine learning division. We'll just scoop them.
See, here's the thing. Here's my predictions. Though, you know, we have another podcast for that. Here's my predictions for the next gen.
We do?
Microsoft's probably going to do really amazing hardware because the Xbox One X is an amazing performance level for the value, and next gen's going to have more powerful CPUs, so we can do 60 frames per second. I think Microsoft's going to have a really impressive hardware, and their fucking OS is still going to be a nightmare to use.
I load it up once every 6 months. I have no idea where the fuck I'm going.
I am a guy who has memorized, and I'm not bragging. It's just how it is. I memorized the layout of every button on every controller I've ever fucking used for one of these goddamn consoles, so I'm always befuddled when I see people look down at the controller to figure out where a button is. You know, not casuals, but like hardcore gamers. Anyways, I will never be able to figure out the layout of that fucking OS.
Oh, they'll change it every 6
maze.
weeks, so whatever.
Right, they've changed
I got into the store by accident.
Remember the blades?
Yeah, no.
A simpler time.
A simpler time.
I miss those blades.
Yes.
I do too. Which,
I miss them along with my Xbox 360 Arcade Edition with a memory card.
You didn't see it, but KZ dabbed after he said that.
I did! How did you know?
I know. But like
This is the Kino podcast.
the fucking 360 OS, it looks like ass. It looks terrible because they designed it to look right on a 4x3 screen, the Blade OS, but it was so functionally good. Like, it was so not a bunch of bullshit in your face that it's just enviable by today's Microsoft console standards.
The Windows XP guys did it.
Dan,
the rest
you
are done
need
by
to
new.
understand that the Xbox One OS sucks because they always intended for you to navigate it with the Kinect.
You just have to deal with that forever. What do you mean we've stopped making the adapter to like Kinect even plug into this thing?
Every time you
Xbox,
mention
go
that,
away.
I get anxiety. Every time you're like, you can't buy that anymore, I'm like, oh god, we're gonna have to do a video, some Xbox One fucking Kinect game someday, and it's just gonna be like, Bob, I paid $700 for this adapter.
No, it's okay, Dan. We can just buy an Xbox original. Because those things are like,
How's the input lag on the wired Xbox One controller?
I'm actually really glad you asked, and today on Button to Pixel, we're gonna talk about exactly that in the HDMI feed-through port.
no, we need to do the input lag on the Kinect.
I actually do know that. It's 133 milliseconds. Suck my dick.
What?
You thought I was kidding, but it was I, Daniel.
I thought it was going to be 2
It
minutes,
was
honestly.
me, a crazy person.
Now, see, that's the funny. You do think it's really long, right? When you think about like Xbox, when you think about how journalists cover the Xbox Kinect input lag, they're like, it is really unresponsive. It's terrible. So in your head, when you think about milliseconds, you're like, it must be a huge number. No, it's like 180 or 133 milliseconds. It's in that range. When you hear people talk about, yeah, I tried to use my Xbox as the pass-through for my PS4, you know, plug the PS4 HDMI, because people did this at the beginning of this generation of consoles. They're like, I'm going to plug my PS4 into the HDMI in on my Xbox One. Joke's on you, I only need one HDMI port on my TV. But then they realize it feels really bad. And if I'm not misremembering, we did the test on that, and the input lag there is like 67 milliseconds or something. You don't need to add a lot of input lag before something just feels terrible. So about Red Dead. I'm done.
So our
I'm
next
done.
story for this week.
Darkwing Duck, since it's Capcom related, I guess.
Yeah.
What about Darkwing Duck?
Darkwing Duck.
There's not a huge amount to this story. Basically, the Sonic Mania devs headcanon.
Mm-hmm.
wanted to basically make a Darkwing Duck Mania based on the NES game.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And they kept contacting Capcom, and Capcom wouldn't respond. And eventually, someone at Capcom was like, "Guys, it looks cool, but Disney's just gonna say no." And then they gave up.
Yeah. So
Aw,
real
damn.
quick,
And the you can go play the prototype. They just dumped it.
Whoa, that's neat.
yeah, Stealth dumped it. He put up a YouTube video where he tells the whole story, which is a little bit longer than Feel's version. But basically, they met at E3. Capcom gave them contact info, ghosted their ass 2 times in a row, during which Headcanon started making a prototype because from the way they sounded at E3, it sounded like it was going to be A-okay. So they make the prototype and then they contact them again and they're like, oh yeah, we're not going to be working for Capcom in like a week, but we'll give you the contact information for the new people who are working for Capcom USA. And those people never responded either.
Man, now I'm
And
like,
it's weird. It's weird because it wasn't that long ago that Capcom was like, "Here's DuckTales remastered by Way Forward."
You say
I'm
that, but I
assuming-
think that was late PS3 or early PS4, wasn't it?
No, please don't skeletonize me like this.
Oh, I will.
yeah.
I
Time to
will. I
find
have
out.
a great sense of time. That
Yeah,
has
like,
got to
that
be
was-
2013, 2014.
DuckTales
2013. Fuck me, that's more than
HD.
5 years
August
ago.
of 2013.
My favorite game. When did this game happen?
2 months after 2 months after Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced, DuckTales remastered.
I'm a corpse.
I love. Oh no!
It came out for Windows Phone.
Dan's new light novel series. I can't believe my podcast co-host is a corpse.
I can. Its name is Dan.
Okay, what else we got, KZ?
But real
So
quick,
our
real quick,
next story
before we
is
move on,
about-
that
what's up,
prototype,
man?
that prototype actually looks pretty good. Did you check out any of the footage, Feel?
No, I was gonna play it later, but I didn't get a chance yet.
Yeah, I haven't gotten an opportunity to play it, but it actually is really solid. Has amazingly fluid animations for a prototype made in a little over a week. They were saying, like it's really nice. Kind of sad that it's not getting made. That's all I really wanted to say. It has a nice, like they did a grapple hook mechanic that's a lot smoother than you would expect for a game because they're trying to make, as they said, the Sonic Mania of Darkwing Duck NES game. They're trying to make smooth animations, really good mechanics, et cetera, et cetera. It is amazing the progress they made on that prototype just for it to mean nothing. So I'm really glad that stealth dropping that.
That directly reminds me of when Ubisoft was approaching Nintendo to do the Rabbids game,
Oh, yeah.
and they ended up doing a back and forth with Miyamoto, and he's like, "Oh, that's a really good like the models and stuff look really good. Like which ones did you steal from us?" And they're like, "No, we made these in like 2 weeks."
See, that directly reminds me of when, what was it, Factor 5 was making a Kid Icarus game.
Oh,
and Nintendo kept giving them feedback like, this model is maybe not great. You should make it more like our model. We'll even give you our
Anytime
models.
I think of Factor 5, I get sad because they have that Star Wars Rogue Squadron Wii game that just won't exist.
Yeah. And also they were working on a Kid Icarus game, which who cares? That it looked terrible. It was trying to be God of War with like AAA quick time events and stuff like that. But they were also working on, and Daniel completes his other part of his stereotype. They were making a Pilot Wing games, you guys. Pilot Wings. Why can't I have Pilot Wings?
Never, Dan.
No new bouncers and no new Pilot Wings.
Wasn't Wii Sports Resort like super similar to Pilot Wings?
No, but the what was it? They had something that was like dumb baby mode for light plane. They had a plane thing, I believe, in the Wii Sports Resort, but it just
And that 3DS game where they
right.
literally
I was
call
gonna
it-
lead into that, where
Yeah.
it's Pilot Wings Resort is just Pilot Wings made on Woohoo Island.
Oh, that's what I meant. I meant the 3DS thing.
Yeah. Well, see, the Wii Sports Resort did sort of lean into it because it had that dumb light plane mode that was like dumb, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyways, and then Pilot Wings Resort happened. It just happens to be trapped on my least favorite Nintendo platform maybe ever, the 3DS.
Just like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask will never be freed from that accursed little fucking
Yeah.
box.
Yeah, it would be really
You just
nice
want to
if
crush it.
it would be really nice if those came out on the Switch. They look really good.
Listen, here's a hot take. No version of a game on a portable can be called definitive.
Yeah,
You're right.
I feel like that's fair.
Is that even hot?
I mean,
Yes, because someone's gonna come for my fucking throat for saying that about the 3DS versions of Ocarina and
I mean,
Majora.
KZ, I can't even say Super Mario 64 DS is bad without someone in the comment section being like, what the hell, man? I love that game. Who needs an analog stick?
I loved playing as Yoshi.
I love sticking the weird nub they give you onto my thumb to use the touch screen as a fake
as a
analog
As
stick.
a fucking virtual analog stick. Yeah, no, it was
You're
terrible.
getting me really mad about the 3DS right now.
But yeah, no, it's a shame when the definitive release of anything is trapped on a portable. Luckily, that can't happen anymore because every portable but the Switch is dead.
Yeah.
That's what it took.
And I can plug the Switch into a TV, so I don't care.
Exactly.
it really upsets me that Murmos
I
is
forget
best
it's a
versions
portable
on
a lot of the
Vita.
time.
Oh yeah, the best version of Vanillaware's Muramasa game is exclusive to the Vita.
Yep. Makes sense, right?
Bob,
Persona 4 still not ported to anything but Vita.
no.
Speaking of Vanillaware, let's swing into that.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Okay, so you may be aware of the game 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim.
I am.
This is a game that I was starting to believe wasn't real because they showed fucking nothing of it for years.
Yeah.
To be fair, Vanillaware was kind of busy completely remaking
Dragon's Crown in order
Odin
to
Sphere into a good game.
and Dragon's Crown into a 4K game.
Man, just hot takes all day. You're right.
But real quick, to
So
cover
they've
what 13
announced
Sentinels. Real quick, let's cover
Yeah.
what 13 Sentinels is. Basically, it was like Japanese high school age cast with a mecha game that they announced at Tokyo Game Show. Was it 4 years ago? Or
I think you're right.
I think it was
like
longer.
2013,
It was
maybe.
2014 or 2015.
yeah, it was 2014 because Dragon's Crown came out in 2013, didn't it? 2013, 2012. Anyway, yeah, it's about 4 years.
Oh, 2015, so it wasn't
Okay,
that
2015.
long
So we
ago.
got nothing for 3 years until like Tokyo Game
But
Show.
finally.
This most recent one, 2018, was just like, hey, we're still making that. Here's like a couple clips of gameplay, I guess.
So there's still been no real gameplay.
Extra emphasis
Like,
on
not
I
enough
guess.
for me to go, I understand, and I'm excited for this game. It's
Exactly.
Oh, and
like,
I,
all right.
It's
and I,
mostly dialogue
I
boxes.
forgot that Atlas was publishing this.
Yeah, it was like their big collaboration.
So what's the news about 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim now that we've recapped what that even is? Because God knows no one knows.
Yep. So Atlas has announced 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim Prologue for the PS4. It'll launch on March 14th in Japan. You'll be able to access it through various means. The cheapest is about 1,000 yen. And it'll let you play the first 3 hours of the dramatic adventure game and control all 13 main characters.
Because they're madmen.
Save data will not be able to be carried over to the main game when that comes out.
Because the main game isn't real.
So I imagine like
Once more proof.
I imagine like in March they'll just be like, here's when the game comes out. It'll be out in fall.
I hope you're right, but I am so
I wish.
worried.
I'm convinced there's not going to be gameplay in this. I think it's going to go between 13 characters and it's all going to be dialogue. And that's going to be it. And it'll get to the point where you start playing for each of them and then it ends.
They could totally do that. It'd be like 20 minutes on each character. It's like, look at all this value.
See, that would be okay if it were in English. It would be barely tolerable then. But as a thing that's coming out in Japanese in Japan in March, it's like, man, if there's
I'll
no
barely
gameplay,
pay attention, but if a date gets dropped, then I'll be like, hey.
And since Atlas is publishing it, we should get it in English in 2021.
Yep. Saga Frontier taught me something about myself in RPGs. The more characters that have wholly separate story modes, the happier I am.
Saga Frontier is so fucking kino.
It really is.
Like there's a character in Saga Frontier that's a common rider, but he can only transform if the rest of the party has the blind status or is dead.
Yep. It's
What?
true.
So he has to hide his identity?
Yep.
Wow.
It's incredible. That game is
The only time I've ever heard of Saga was in regards to Octopath Traveler when that came out.
Yeah.
Because it also does the
Octopath
story stuff.
Octopath is boneless Saga.
Yeah, let me put it this way.
I have a question. Is Saga good?
Half Minute Hero is to Ease as Octopath is to Saga Frontier.
I feel like they tried to do
right,
later
the
Saga games.
there's a lot of problems
the
with
later
Octopath Traveler.
the later Saga
KZ,
games
you
are
need to
really
go.
bad.
You need to play some of the not Saga Frontier, romancing Saga games. They released a bunch on PC recently, and keep in mind these were fucking Super Nintendo games and had the most insane shit in them in the universe.
Did they design dungeons in those games?
Yes, but there's stuff like
Octopath is 18 caves that have nothing.
there's just like go in any direction you want and do whatever you want. We have the most insane progression system in the way enemies progress in the universe.
Yeah, no,
Neat.
it's real. I can't say the K word, but it's definitely that.
Why? Because someone's keeping count on when you say it and you always win?
1, yes. 2, it's been said 21 times already. I think it's been said enough. Though, to be fair,
Say it in the
I
mirror
will
3
definitely...
times I come out and I steal your food.
To be fair, I will totally trade us saying Kino a billion times for the phrase ludonarrative dissonance. I would much rather deal with gaming discourse where
I'm
we just
turning
keep
into
rolling.
a fucking statue right now. I've got a story in front of me.
What?
In front of my
What is-
eyeballs.
In
What
front
is
of your
it, KZ?
stone eyeballs.
It's the next one on the list. New info about Sekiro came out. Game Informer got the cover story and coverage for the game. That's the samurai game being made by From Software.
It is
Made
the
out-
not Tenchu.
Yeah,
game.
it is
Yes.
fucking
Yes,
Tenchu.
the not Tenchu game. Important news related to it. It has a pause button, so I'll buy it.
Thank God.
Yeah, it has no online, so which, like, Bloodborne and Dark Souls 2 and 3 all basically did not have online either. I don't think I got invaded a single time in any of those games, but it's good that I have a pause button now.
Yeah. They even had to patch one into Neo, which was hilarious.
I don't even fucking know how the multiplayer in Neo worked.
Okay, you go to like some shrine thing, and then you offer a like stone cup to an altar, and it brings people in. And that's how I ended up getting multiplayer to work. But their pause menu is like, we don't want you to cheat, so you have to open the equipment menu and then hit start, and then it puts a big black box over the entire screen.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was really dumb.
They don't want you to get any of that frame data. They don't want you to know.
It's like when you try to pause playing Pipe Dream.
I haven't played Pipe Dream since 1998.
I played
Oh,
Bioshock.
that's a lie, because I'm sure some game you've played had it as a mini game.
Okay, I haven't played Pipe Dream since September with Spider-Man PS4.
I was gonna say, KZ, haven't you played Bioshock?
I only like Infinite. It's okay.
Fuck you.
I just wanted to upset you.
So the next story.
All right. Did you have one in mind that you wanted to bring up?
How about Shenmue 3? Nobody alive will ever beat this game.
Okay. So the headline story, getting this from VG247, Shenmue 3 doubled the length of prior games. Side quests no longer separate from the main story.
And keep in mind that the side games, they even confirmed all of the bullshit. Sorry if you're a Shenmue fan. I use the word bullshit lightly here. I'm not saying it's bad. Like forklift racing is still in the game. So now the game mandatorily requires forklift racing to complete, Bob.
That sounds psychotic. Why would anyone do this?
I don't know. That's amazing.
Has anyone alive actually beaten Shenmue 1 and 2?
Yeah, actually, friend of the channel Voxandra is a huge Shenmue fan.
Apparently, it will take multiple weeks to complete
Okay,
Shenmue 3. It's much bigger.
They mean in-game weeks.
Right.
I read that and I was like, what the fuck?
Right.
And then I read further where it's like Shenmue 1 and 2 could be completed in 1 week, and I'm like, okay, he means in-game weeks.
Yeah.
He doesn't mean you will sit in front of your TV to complete my magnum opus.
You will die.
He's like, well, I consider people playing video games like maybe 4 hours a day, 3 times a week, and
I get concerned when this sort of thing happens because I'm like, Way of Samurai 1 is great, and then they decide for Way of Samurai 2, oh yeah, instead of like 1 week, it's a whole month, and it becomes trash.
No. Wasn't it Way of the Samurai 1's 3 days and Way of Samurai 2's a week?
No, it's 2 is literally a month. Then they went insane in the later ones, and like it's like.
By the way,
couple
guys,
months.
if anyone listening to this has not played Way of the Samurai 1 on the PS2, you owe it to yourself. It's a really good like create your own story samurai action game for the PS2 where you
I've heard it described as similar to Yakuza.
Yes, I could see how it's similar to that, but you have a lot of influence over the story. Like, the main story can go so many different directions. There are a lot of different endings. There are so many ways to piss off the blacksmith and have him chase you and beat you to death with his hammer.
All I know is that somebody playing Way of the Samurai 4 when it came out on PC, and like they finished the game in 2 hours by them being executed by being boiled in water.
Yes.
You know, I'm shocked. We actually have a long-running Let's Play, you may not know, of Way of the Samurai 4. I'm surprised that didn't happen to us because that part I just said about the blacksmith beating you to death did. We upset that man, and he put us in our goddamn place. We should have known better than the cheetah man whose bicep was larger than my head.
I get worried when you recommend PS2 games after your track record with it.
What track record? I recommend good PS2 games all the time. Zone of the Enders 2, Shadow of the Colossus, The Bouncer,
Nano Breaker, Samurai Western.
No,
Mint of Innocence.
No, all of those are Bob. All of those are Bob. They are not me.
Men in Black 2, the movie game.
It's just you flying that ship from the movie that they flew with a PS2 controller.
Onimusha Dawn of Dreams.
Whoa, hey, whoa.
That one's nowhere near as bad as the rest of those.
Wait, is Dawn of Dreams? Which one's Dawn of Dreams?
That's
that
number
not
4.
The
number
fourth
4's pretty
one.
good. 4 is pretty good. Theo then retreated back into his cave.
Back into my cave where I love Onimusha 3 and 2 and 1.
See, this is funny because my point of reference for Onimusha fans before this was Bob, and Bob's enjoyment of Onimusha pretty much went up with each iteration. Like you hit.
Oh yeah, I like each. I don't really like Dawn of Dreams, but I like each one before that increasingly more.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is Dawn of Dreams was so good it broke your meter.
I'm kind of sad
Dawn
that
of Dreams
that
feels
collection we're
like
getting.
I don't want us to get stuck talking about Dawn of Dreams, a game that I put like 4 hours into. But
you didn't beat that one, but you beat Yaibuck.
It feels. Listen. I was younger, and the sunken cost fallacy is a bitch.
What, 26?
The sunken cost the little voice in my brain saying, you have to at least get to Ryu, maybe that fight'll be sick and make all this worthwhile.
What are you thinking? Oh, wait, you were thinking that. That's why you're crazy. All right.
Yeah, no.
Broken man.
No, I understand with Feel. I always want to entertain a game is gonna win me over. That's why we do the series Giving Games a Chance, where we give games a chance to win us over. For example, we don't like Mario Sunshine. We played Mario Sunshine. We still don't like Mario Sunshine. That didn't really change, but sometimes it changes, you guys.
Has a game ever won you over with that show?
Galerian's Ash. I was convinced I would hate it the whole time, and by
I
the end
tapped
of
out
it,
eventually.
by the end of it, I was just like, "This is amazingly Kino. I'm totally down for this. Sure, I would love to play this more." What other games? We actually did a track record at one point because somebody was like, "You never give games an actual chance," and I'm like, "Okay, let's do these numbers." Oh, look, 40% of them we changed our minds for the better.
Yeah, I enjoyed Nightshade a lot more than I thought I would going back.
And we fucking hated Shinobi 3DS. So there you go.
Mega Man and Bass is pretty good.
It's all right if you're playing as bass.
You know, I hear friend of the channel, Spaceman Spiff, thinks that game's really great, but refuses to play as Mega Man.
It's a weird.
That's fine.
No,
You can finally play as Bass, so why would you pick Mega Man?
It's like if someone was like, "No, this Sonic game's really good," but then Knuckles is the only person who feels right, and Sonic is now crippled.
I like Nucleus.
That'd still be fine.
Why didn't they just call it Bass and just only have Bass playable?
Because no one would buy it, which, you know,
Didn't do
good
much
job
different.
dodging that. What's the next bit of news?
Speaking of dodging, Dead or Alive 6 has been delayed to dodge more releases.
Dead on Arrival 6 is still fucking dead when it arrives.
The beta
What
actually
are you talking
starts
about?
this weekend.
This is the triumphant return. They're strong. there's less booby or something. I don't know. I don't.
Here's what happened, and this also happened to 5. They're like, we're gonna make this a real fighting game, and we're not gonna have as much titty, and then all their hardcore fans check out, and nobody is actually fooled, so nobody new comes in, and then the game fails. And that happened with 5, and it's gonna happen again with 6.
Yeah, I can't believe they're rolling out again. And
maybe
everyone was
this
like,
one will
this
be
is so progressive.
Yeah, actually, a lot of the coverage has been like, what was it? Bob was talking about an interview where it was like, Dead or Alive 6 is being really respectable with its female characters' representation. Why aren't you doing that in Soul Calibur 6? Like, they said that to a producer at Namco or something, and it was just like, wow, you fell for that hook, line, and sinker.
Wow, you didn't actually look at Dead or Alive 6 after you just heard them say that until they downloaded it
You read
to your
a press
brain.
release. That was all your due diligence.
Congrats.
And the Soul Calibur 6 guy should have said, because we're making a good game.
Because we don't need a weird thing to sell you our game. I mean, look at Dead or Alive 5. How many costumes are in that? And 80% of them are obviously just
$3,000 worth.
Yeah,
$3,000 worth.
Oh yeah.
There are so many costumes that there is a free to play version of Dead or Alive 5 because they know you'll spend money on costumes.
Yeah,
yeah,
it makes sense.
I mean, it does make sense.
I don't know why they if they just led with that for 6, like they should embrace that community. They'd do great.
So here's the thing: 6 doesn't actually visually look that different from 5, so they need some hook,
I guess.
No matter how flaccid.
Yeah, it's like they should have just waited for next gen. Like they waited so late and it looked identical.
I mean, if you think about it, yeah, the release schedule lines up with how late 5 was.
They should have just given up and made it a free-to-play fighter.
I mean, they should have.
Like,
yeah.
Every fighting game is back now. What room is there except Virtua Fighter, which is dead forever? But what?
It's gonna come back, Phil.
What room is there for Dead or Alive? We have Tekken. We have Street Fighter. We have Guilty Gear. We have fucking Dragon Ball Fighters now. We have Soul Calibur again. We have Samurai. We have Samurai Showdown.
Okay, let me just.
And now we have that Grand Blue Fighter.
Let me put it this way. We finally have a good Soul Calibur again. We finally have a good Dragon Ball fighting game. What fucking chance does fucking Dead or Alive hold in this market?
I feel like there's always room for another interesting fighting game because it's kind of like Fast Virtua Fighter in a way.
There's room for an interesting fighting game, meaning not Dead or Alive.
I know,
and that's the problem.
It.
Like they haven't, like as much as we've criticized over the years here at GigaBoots, the Soul Calibur 5 entropy. Or the Soul Calibur entropy, where 5 was better than 4, but it's felt mostly downhill from 3. At least each one has a unique flavor. Dead or Alive has not felt substantially different, I feel, this whole time. They added some neat things in 5, but 6 looks identical. And 5 didn't really do it didn't do enough for me.
Right.
So here's a stunning realization. When your franchise is built on trash, you can't really put something stable on it.
Look, man, it's not their fault that the head honcho pervert left the company.
I find it so crazy that Neo
like, do you remember the ads Microsoft used to sell Dead or Alive 3 on Xbox?
Yeah, I like it when she kicks high. It's got good bump mapping.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
of course you actually remember.
Because it was the most abusive usage of bump mapping in human history.
So, KZ,
why do you care so much about bump mapping?
Because they were referring to her boobs.
Yeah, it's just two greasy-looking virgin nerds sitting on a couch sweating, talking about, I like when she kicks high. And this was like a commercial.
It was really gross, yeah.
Do they have a game review show on YouTube?
This was like 2001, so no, it was on public access.
Good. Can someone dub over Phil's impersonation of that commercial with the actual commercial? That was too fucking good.
Please.
Jesus Christ.
We need that. Also, Dead or Alive is screwed. The new Mortal Kombat's coming out a month after that.
Yeah, no, that's just, oh man.
It could literally be Mortal Kombat 4 again and be more appealing than Dead or Alive 6.
There's like a Dragon Ball Fighters event this month where they're probably gonna announce season 2.
Right.
Yeah, their PR were in the comments of like one of their event summary videos saying save the date and like hearting any comment related to season 2.
I mean, it makes sense.
Confirming, like, get excited for that. The market is,
Yeah.
it might be a little doomed.
Yeah, it's really
Like, here's the thing. Name a character from Dead or Alive.
The purple-haired one.
No, you can't. You have to use their name, KZ. You can't just describe
Now,
their hair
is
and
this
boobs.
just a challenge for KZ, or can Bob and I join the battle and take on Jiren?
Diego.
See,
You read
I
the
don't
tweet.
even. I don't even know enough of the names to correct
Okay,
you. So
now,
you can literally make
I'm
anything
saying
up.
that one because I think that's the new character they announced. By the way, that's it.
Here's the thing. I know Tina Armstrong because she's my waifu. That's it.
Kage?
That's
No, that's
not
Virtua
Virtua
Fighter.
Fuck! Heihachi?
No.
Tekken.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so I got Kasumi,
Fulgor?
Ayane, Ryu Hayabusa,
Gargos.
Fuck, what is the name of the opera singer type? Isn't it Helga or something?
Helena.
Helena. There you go. That's all of them. I can't even. Hitomi. There we go.
Hitomi.
Hitomi's actually really, really fun to play as, you guys. She does some really strong hits.
Frieza.
Frieza, yeah.
So I heard some former Hearthstone devs are working on something that may or may not be real.
Okay, so there's an update. Former Hearthstone devs apparently working on some sort of Marvel mobile card game of some sort.
I wonder if it's real, like the one that they're supposedly being made by that Square Enix is supposedly making for them, or Eidos rather, or Eidos. I think it's Eidos.
Yeah, it's Eidos. But
Oh, you're talking about the Avengers game?
yeah, the
That I'm
Avengers game.
still not convinced
yeah.
is real because we
They
haven't seen it.
Right.
The one where they said more info in 2018 and we never got any info on it.
But guys, here's the weird thing. That Marvel Ultimate Alliance game came out of nowhere from Team Ninja. Like,
That was insane. One, that it was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 or whatever it
yeah,
was.
this many
And
years
then
later.
2, exclusive on Nintendo Switch. This is some like Super Nintendo licensing bullshit.
And then, like, 3 Team Ninja. Like, all 3 of those just blew my fucking
It's like,
mind.
what a fucking grab.
Like, I was looking
That's
at
the
the
most
trailer, and I was like,
mid-tier thing
wait,
I've ever seen.
this actually
I
looks like a
certainly
good
hope
game.
it's better than the last exclusive Team Ninja made for Nintendo.
What was that?
I don't remember that one.
It's almost like
Remember
when
me?
you have a giant. Oh my god!
Remember me?
Oh my god, that one. I was like, I'm sure they've done one between that.
Bob was like, Animal Crossing?
That I was thinking the thing that the creator of Team Ninja went off and made.
The head honcho.
Yeah,
perv.
Devil's Third.
Third.
I was like,
Devil's Kino.
Bob,
The thing that
don't feel bad, I did the
Nintendo
same
America said, we're not going to localize this, and then everybody went, no, localize, and they went, okay, fine, and then like a month out, they're like, we're not publishing physical copies though, because fuck that.
they published like 3 or something.
Yeah, they printed 1 disc per United State. They're so expensive to buy nowadays.
But you can download it digitally for $60.
Good thing there's no reason. Oh wait, you guys run a YouTube channel, so there is a reason to play some hideously unfathomable garbage.
It's almost like we might have a series at some point
Phil
where
will
we
just do
play
it
the
for
worst
fun.
games from last gen.
There's no way that game is as bad as Yaiba.
No, KZ, I learned.
Did you?
Yes.
I don't think
Bob, I
Like
don't
I was
know.
I was talking about Far East of Eden 0 earlier this week. I dropped that game. And it wasn't even bad. It was just kind of mid.
Bob, I don't know. I feel like
Yeah, but a mid
I feel like
RPG
Devil's-
adds a debuff to your soul.
That's true. That's very true.
Bob, I don't know. I feel like Devil's Third could be as bad as Yaiba. Just the few things I know about it, where it's a terrible third-person shooter. Like, you know how bad it is when, like, everyone was impressed by like Vanquish and that Sega shooter. Was it
Binary Domain.
Yeah, Binary Domain. When they came out and they were Japanese third-person shooters that felt good. You know how all the rest of them feel? That's how Devil's Third feels. And it has the worst plot in the world, and it has a melee mechanic you would never engage in because it damage-wise makes no sense.
Oh no, you have to engage in it. Every boss is a melee boss.
Of course. It's not a third-person shooter. It goes to
I can
first
hear a
person.
pin drop there for a second.
I feel this new information is making me sick.
So, I was thinking, speaking of shit that's dire,
No,
So
wait.
BioWare-
I was about to segue into that because you said that
Oh no.
you said the worst news was Yiba. I think this BioWare news might be worse, and let me explain why. So BioWare is looking for a new technical director for Dragon Age 4 because they're going to because they realized that Anthem is doomed. So they're like, well,
What do you mean it's doomed? It's
well, we
coming
better
out.
start Dragon Age 4. So they want a technical director with multiplayer experience.
Wait,
Oh,
isn't Dragon Age like a story-heavy single-player experience?
Dragon Age Inquisition had multiplayer, KZ.
I played that. I don't even remember that.
It had a horde mode because the horde mode in Mass Effect 3, the horde mode multiplayer, was full of microtransactions, and they got whales. So they're like, well, we're just going to put that in Dragon Age Inquisition too. And I don't think they got as many whales in that.
They did
But
not.
here's what terrifies me. I don't think they're going to do that in Dragon Age 4 because I think the legal ground loot boxes are on right now is too shaky. I think they're going to make Dragon Age 4 Dark Souls
See,
that's your premonition.
because of because of story events that happened at the end of Dragon Age Inquisition, the DLC that leads into Dragon Age 4. It'd be very easy for them just to justify leaping between games to gank other players.
See, when I read this news, I assumed they were going to do shared hubs, kind of like Destiny. Like they were literally going to turn Dragon Age into an almost Destiny
here's our
experience.
living
Like
game.
Anthem.
Yeah, here's our games as a service,
God.
which everyone
Every-
remembers.
I don't think they're going to do that because that's not what BioWare fans want.
That's exactly why I think they're gonna do that.
They also want good games, and that's been a bit of a rough ride.
No, they don't, KZ. Don't lie.
Okay, they just want sex.
Like literally
Correct.
everything EA touches right now is just
Just the
Right,
idea of
which
EA Dark Souls.
Which is why
They
more...
already kind of did it with Dragon Age Inquisition. They cribbed the health system, where you hit a checkpoint and you get your potions back.
See,
You know what
I-
shocked me the most about this news about the Dragon Age thing?
what?
It reminded me that they announced a new Dragon Age game last month.
I thought that they didn't actually announce it.
They actually announced it. It was at the Game Awards.
It was a CG trailer with like a symbol that I didn't recognize, and my chat said it's Dragon Age, so I went, okay, I guess that's what that is. I played 3 hours of Inquisition, and that's it.
Dragon Age 4 will be Dark Souls. That is my prediction because I think they're just going to be like, fuck this halfway RPG shit. Dragon Age Inquisition didn't really sell well. What's popular right now? Still Souls likes. Let's just make a bad action game.
And I'm putting my money on them making a fucking Destiny. We'll see you guys when Dragon Age 4 comes out to find out which one of us is a dipshit.
Well, here's the other
gonna be
possibility
like the
is that
worst
they
action.
had
Spoiler, both.
do you remember the canned multiplayer project that they had right before they started working on Anthem?
No.
No. I try not to look at BioWare news.
I think it was called Shadow Lords.
Oh,
And it was going to be
Forgot about that.
a 4-on-1 multiplayer game where the Shadow Lord sent mobs and set up traps at the 3 party
It
members.
was gonna be Fable.
No, it was gonna be Nintendo Land.
I think we might get something like that too.
That's why is this?
Can we move on? Let's move on. Let's
Bob's
move on.
like, please, can we leave?
So there was the quinoa animated film got canceled.
Klonoa.
So that's sad.
It was Klonoa. Door to Phantom Mile. You know, it's a really good game. It's not quinoa. It's not a superfood. It's a cute rabbit thing. God,
I
love
thought quinoa was a fruit.
Quinoa.
Quinoa is not a fruit. Oh my god. Anyway.
Back in 2016,
Yes.
an animated feature based on Clanue, Door to produced by U.S. company Henshin Incorporated, was announced. But today, the manga creator Hitoshi Ariga revealed on Twitter that the project was canceled, apologizing for the wait on the news.
Yeah,
I would be stunned if anything ever got in development of that project.
I'm just deeply saddened by this because I feel like it would have been really nice to have an animated film.
They should make
based
another
on
one of those
Klonoa.
games. Like, isn't that IP dead?
Yes.
Yes.
The last one that
They
came
should-
out was on the Wii.
Hope he's in Smash.
You know, I'm not trying to condescend to Persona fans, but after Joker, anything's possible. Sure, bring on over Klonoa.
No, that's what everyone's saying when Joker was announced for Smash, even Persona fans.
Yeah,
nobody expected that ever.
Yeah, no.
That was a fucking wow. repeated for hours.
Watch.
I just hope that Nintendo is able to somehow sneak trailers into other events forever to keep doing that.
Right.
I don't expect Smash reveals to be in directs anymore. That's how good that first one was.
Right. Namco's going to call a conference and then it's going to be like, hey, Hachi is in Smash.
Like if Microsoft gets a rep somehow, it would be at one of their conferences or something.
Oh, so you're saying at Minecon there'll be a reason to go because they're going to announce Minecraft Steve for Smash?
All right, what story do you want to do next? I've got this one right here about Catherine getting a PC release that is
it's already out as of now.
It is out now. It's Catherine Classic, so it's the original game from 360 and PS3.
Yeah, the crisp, refreshing flavor
remake that they're working on.
It appears to have some issues. It doesn't seem to be terrible.
But it does have a capped
something about the
right?
frame rate not being great.
Yeah, the frame rate's capped and then it lies about being 60.
Like it fakes the frame rate, but then somebody was like, no, it doesn't actually fake the frame rate. All the animations are at 30 frames per second, but like camera control and responsiveness is faster. So who knows?
Are you saying it has better input lag?
I don't know. You're going to have to do a test.
Oh, no. Bob, make sure this time we include the wired Pro controller for the Switch.
I don't think this is on the Switch, but sure.
No, this is important. We're going to do this PC button to pixel, and someone's going to go, what if I use the wired Pro controller?
With this third-party adapter that makes sure everything works.
Yeah.
Can you test it on all the 8-bit new controllers?
We've gotten that comment before. It's real great. I love hearing it, especially when that series has made very little money.
You can afford it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all the news. So it's time for a new bit.
Oh no!
Normally, I believe we would be answering questions.
Yeah,
but,
normally we answer emails on this part of the podcast, as you all know. But today we're going to do something a little different since our email isn't quite up and working yet. We're going to talk about our 3 favorite games for 2018, one at a time. Obviously, we haven't come up with a collective list for the podcast.
Yes,
we wouldn't
3.
do that. So
3
I
lovely
figure
games.
Let's go ahead and start with KZ. KZ, what are your top 3 games of 2018?
All right, so there are a lot of really great games this year. I feel like there's going to be some overlap with our lists, but my third favorite, I guess I would say, in that top 3 is Tetris Effect.
Tetris
Which was a fantastic ultimate form of Tetris.
It is really good.
I have not gotten to play it yet, but it
watered my crops. It saved my life.
Yeah. No, this
doesn't
is
it have a
very
it has
accurate.
a VR version, so I'm sure Dan is just going to sit there drooling as he plays it.
I mean,
He's never going to open that PlayStation VR. I don't know what
it's
you're
part of the
talking
reason
about.
we freaking bought it, but I still haven't opened the box because we've been fucking buried under work since November. But yeah, no, Tetris Effect is really good. That game, like, legitimately moved me in a way. I owned a lot of versions of Tetris growing up. I've played at least 20 or 30. And that version finds a way to be a really, really unique execution of Tetris and offer its own experience in a way where it isn't fungible. It isn't easily replaced by another version, you know?
The most incredible sound design in a game I've played in years.
Yeah, it's so good.
It activates that part of your brain when you just hear moving around the pieces and you're making the beat to the song as you're placing things down. And there's so many different wrappers to the game, different types.
Yeah, different.
And they're all really unique and nice.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're really, really beautiful and technically impressive. Keep in mind this game's a PS4 exclusive, so like
it's a visual treat.
It really is. And it's like it would have been so easy. I know I'm a fucking joke at this point. It would have been so easy to make a game that looked really good and felt like shit. But this game is really responsive. It's really crisp.
And then in PlayStation VR, even less input lag.
I assume I'm never gonna test that. You know how hard it would be to fit a 1200 frame per second camera into one of the lenses.
Yeah, there was a video that came out where they got like a professional Tetris player to play that.
Yeah. So here's the thing about that video. What happens? KZ, if you want to tell the story, go ahead. Like recap what the video is.
It just involved a pro Tetris player suddenly doing a lot better at the game when he went into VR mode because of the better, higher frame rate and potentially lower input lag.
So here's the thing about that. That TV looked like a garbage brand. It really could have just had, like, I doubt they changed the picture modes. I doubt they engaged game mode. So it doesn't even have to be that much.
You are the one guy who would bring this shit up.
Absolutely, because that was the first thing I thought. They stick him on the VR and he's like, wow, this is way easier to do. And I'm like, yeah, that TV was probably in like a make my picture look good, smooth it together.
Was it Vizio?
That's what happened.
No, Vizio's actually have good input.
3's like first gameplay event. A similar thing happened with input lag on the TVs there.
Yeah, that's really tragic.
That probably was a lot
of people's impressions said this game feels fucking bad. Like everything just feels like really loose, and the controls were unresponsive. Then they went to E3 and they fixed it. They just set the TVs correctly.
So what you're saying is that there is a role in this world that needs to be played by people like me who go, okay, Square Enix, you got to set this up with responsive displays. You need some responsive
4K OLEDs. We need 50 of them.
You can do that, right? What's the marketing budget? You can squeeze that one in.
Talk to the mouse.
So do the TVs make Kingdom Hearts feel floaty? I just have to know.
So KZ, what's your second favorite game of 2018?
Oh, okay, we'll go through all three for each. Sure. Other game would probably be Dragon Quest XI.
That is also on mine.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Quest XI is real good.
It is incredible. I've never felt such a feeling of completeness upon beating a game in a long time. It is long.
I really need to play more of that.
Great pacing.
I'm going to put the entire Western gaming industry on blast here for a second.
Yeah, that's what this show is going to be,
just
whether
like
or not any of us want it.
I don't dislike games like God of War and Spider-Man. I think both of those games are good.
Right.
Great story on God of War.
But, yes, very Kino. I actually, my stance has evolved on that, so I'm a little bit more generous to it now.
Okay.
But there's just this problem with context-sensitive controls.
What about Red Dead?
Red Dead is also an example, but I haven't played that.
Yeah.
So it's nice to just play a game that is polished to such an unbelievable mere sheen.
Yes.
Where nothing feels even a little bit wrong.
Yeah.
It's like I would pick up Dragon Quest XI and I'd just like melt into the game.
Yeah, it's
there was basically nothing is inconvenient in the game. The story constantly surprised me with how I expect stories to go a certain way, especially in JRPGs. They kind of go through the motions of a lot of been there, done that, and I was surprised in the directions that it went.
It had stunningly good voice acting that just wasn't there in Japan. There was no voice acting in the Japanese
I would like
version.
this game a lot less if it wasn't voice acting, because there's some really, really good performances in it.
They did that with 8 too, and 8 had a really good cast as well.
They're finally doing that with the Switch port of 11. They're giving it a Japanese voice cast.
Yeah.
Well, they need a reason to buy it again, guys.
The only problem with Dragon Quest XI is the MIDI music.
Yes. That music.
Luckily, if you're playing it on PC, there are ways to correct that, but don't talk about them too loudly or a war crime denier will phase into your house and kill you.
You know, for anyone who has no idea what the fuck you're talking about, that scared the hell out of them. That was like a creepy pasta right there. And then you boot up the Majora's Mask and there's a file in there named Ben Drowned.
Everything about that is just fantastic. It has a really fun skill tree system that has a bunch of different routes you can go in, and you can respec it whenever you want for a very small fee. And someone said, well, why do you have to pay it all? And it came to me that you got to pay the church, though. They need money.
Come on, be reasonable here.
It's called being immersive. That, and I was shocked because there's always those memes of Square Enix can't make HD towns, and there's like 18 fucking cities in that game or something.
And they're all big and gorgeous, and the animations on the enemies are fucking incredible.
It is so incredible. There's a town where all the NPCs speak in haiku, and I can't imagine how hard that was.
That must have been the
localize.
world's biggest pain in the ass to localize.
That's actually the point I got to. I just got to that town.
Yeah. It was that exact moment that I'm like, man, this they did an incredible job with this. But yeah, that's my number.
And
number
no
2,
spoilers, but the immediate start of the post game is like one of the coolest things in any game I've ever played.
You hyped it up, and you were absolutely right.
Okay.
Where it's just like, we're gonna make you feel like you have the biggest dick in the universe.
You do. You swing it a good couple times.
your main character's name is changed to Super King Big Dick.
That's
can name them,
basically
so
what
yes.
happens.
That's amazing. KZ, what's your number one though?
My number one's probably Smash. Because
That's understandable.
It will control my life for many years to come. It's just they did everything I wanted with this game, where they just give you more of everything. The single player I found to be a lot of fun. I was constantly surprised, and I won't spoil any of them, of the moments where they said, we're just another game now.
Yeah.
And they just take you through that. And I think there's at least like 3 or 4 of those that are just fantastic, and I did not expect it.
I think
that.
Ryu's might be my favorite because it's just Street Fighter 2. And
yeah,
then,
that was
and
the
then,
first one I found, so it fucking shocked the shit out
and
of
then,
me.
and then someone told me, unless you have him unlocked already, you will always get Ganondorf after beating Ryu's, which means that they even put in Akuma.
That one was really great, and there was just a DK related one that just, I'm like, man, it's like you can tell how much they care about the game when they put this much effort into something.
And then there's K Rules, which is just Big Boy Zone.
I love Big Boy Zone. Big Boy Zone's really good. But yeah, it's fantastic. The only parts that are rough are the online lobbies. Definitely need a lot of work in terms of let me control everything.
Yeah, I should be able to change the match settings.
Let me lock myself in the arena forever, no matter what happens in this match.
And perhaps change the netcode so that way people spectating don't need to be perfectly frame synced with the gameplay. So that way I can have an 8-player lobby that doesn't feel worse than a 4-player lobby. You know? If only 4 people are playing at a time, it shouldn't feel worse.
Like, add some of those modes into the online. Like Smashdown, which is the Iron Man mode.
Yeah.
We disable characters after one match. I would love that online. I'm never going to play that.
Yeah, that definitely should be online. That would be a lot of fun.
We actually played that at our New Year's party. That was
Because
really
I would
good.
do that, and then we start, and then I pick Ganondorf, then Phil rushes to go pick out picks out Shulk, and then Dan's screwed.
That is kind of how it went at New Year's, as people all kept rushing my mains like fucking madness. I still won 7 to like 2, like the highest.
You use aimbots.
I used aimbots, yeah, totally. But yeah,
those are my top 3. Fantastic.
Smashdown's really good. Need
the
to play
only
it more.
complaints I have about it are being added in DLC, so that's good.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead and transition to my list next.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So KZ sniped my number 1. Thanks, man. Not even that podcast, and you stole it.
It had to be like, I sniped Feels number 1, I think, so it's fine.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, that's obviously the best game of this year. So
Smash Ultimate?
Yeah, so we just have to deal with that.
It's really good. But I'm not gonna.
Delicious.
I've played that game for 75 hours or so and still not touched World of Light, and I'm so excited. I am
the Wii
so
U
excited
version
to
had
play.
those challenges, right? Like a big grid.
Yeah, it
Some
did.
of the challenges sucked.
Yes.
Like beat Classic on 9 with Marth on a Tuesday without dying. And I'm like, I can't do this. In the course of 2.5 weeks, I got every challenge done in this game and couldn't stop.
Because it's so good.
Everything's great. The only like negative point in single player is classic mode has too many master hand, crazy hand fights, and they're fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
I actually don't hate them. I notice everyone else does, though, so I'm not going to be like...
It's too random because there's two bosses attacking you at the same time, and sometimes you'll get the stun on one and the other one just plays perfect keep away, and you want to be dead.
I had fun with every classic mode I played through. I really want to beat all the classic modes, but I've put off World of Light so long I'll feel
I've
weird
done like
doing
30
it now.
of them. They're real good.
They are so good, and yeah, I've done about 25, 30.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move on from that. I'm actually going to talk about my runner-up a bit, because the fact it's my runner-up is cruel. It's not fair. It is completely not okay, because what I'm giving third place to is also fucked. My runner-up's Mega Man 11.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay, I was gonna be like, surely third can't be Mega Man. It must be second.
Mega Man 11 is actually my runner-up. That game feels so good. There's only like one tiny problem with the game's feel, and it's fine. I'm sure they've already started production on Mega Man 12, they announced, so I'm sure they're gonna fix that tiny problem in that. I really love that the mechanic of slowing down time allows you to have more difficult levels. I like that the power shot isn't just use this and mash the shoot button a bunch. It's use this, charge up, and then you get to unleash a lot of damage on enemies without iframes. Like, it's a very intelligent mechanic. You're supposed to use it in a very specific way. Like, if you want a general use mechanic that helps you out and is a bit cheesecake, then the time slow is that. But if you really want to know what your powered up versions of your weapons are and whether or not that's going to help you get through a boss faster, really great. Really great. That game's amazing, but I'm going to stop talking about it now because it's my runner-up.
Now, I do have some stuff with Mega Man 11 that I could talk about. I love the fact that all the mini-bosses are also weak to that weapon of that stage.
Yes.
Or like the one you go in, and you can just
I feel like they're
level them
also
in 2 hits.
They also are all weak to lightning.
Lightning, really? I know the minecart one is
The minecart and then that weird ice thing. I'm pretty sure he was also lightning.
There's like the roller coaster one that spins, and that
Yes.
dies to the ice weapon in 2 hits because you can just do the spread attack version
Yep.
of it.
Yep.
Yeah, the way I dealt with every mini boss that's with the same way: power gear, ice weapon, or power gear, block weapon.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mixed it up more than that, but I can see why that's a good fallback.
Block weapon's just so good in any area where you
They
just
have
need to
no
clear things
answer.
out. Yeah.
And one last thing before I go, Impact Man's weapon is so good in that it's like, this is a great platforming weapon, especially in the level you need it for the both mid-boss and final boss for, in Bounce Man's level.
I skipped so much of Wily's castle.
Yeah.
Just by cheesing with that weapon.
It's so good. It is so good.
It's such a good way to save yourself. And I also like the environmental stuff, like you can freeze the firewall.
Yes.
Which I did not know the first time.
There's only one issue that I hope they change in 12, and it's related to that.
Yeah.
Give me some of those interactions that aren't just, if you have the weapon the boss is weak to, you can do something with it in the stage. Have other weapons do things, just to incentivize breaking the order if you want a little bit.
See, here's the thing with that, though. You start to get into the Mega Man 7 and some of the other games where you're way too rewarded for revisiting levels. So that way, when you're doing a playthrough where you want to have a lean, let me rephrase. Mega Man X3 problem.
Yeah, I was gonna say this sounds like
the
X3.
Mega Man X3 problem where you're really rewarded for going back after you've gotten the drill back to Neon Tiger, and then after that you need the leg attachment. It makes a playthrough of the game really bloated.
Well,
but
I'm not
I do
necessarily
agree.
saying like that, but like in Fuse Man stage, if you have the rubber balls, you can break the things that go along the belts.
Yes.
Just let another weapon do that.
You
You won't go back to the stage to do that, but if you broke the order and have something like that, you can do it.
I know that in that level, because of the way it's set up, the little electric fields move, they get obstructed, so you can pass through them while they're being blocked by a wall or whatever. doing that without and with Impact Man's weapon is completely different in how fast you can take that level. So I feel like that, unlike a lot of levels, like Impact Man's level weapon, like you tackle a screen completely different with and without that in that level. Because you can actually move fast enough to get past it at certain points that were completely impossible before. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. I agree. You're not talking about hiding secrets.
The doors,
you're talking about
the doors are a major problem.
Yeah, the doors. You got to fix the doors.
Yeah, they got to fix the doors. I think they know that.
They know that.
I think they're gonna fix
I think they did that in an interview. Like, look, it's just the way that we set it up. We couldn't fix it at the last moment.
Yeah, I the tiny thing I was talking about, and this makes me sound even worse than the doors are wrong, people. When you're moving, if you say you're just on a flat plane and you're moving to the right consistently, when you jump, you move forward an extra frame of frame time movement. So it like the screen scrolling jumps. No other Mega Man game has ever done that, and it really bugs the shit out of me because when games do that, it just looks kind of janky.
That sounds like something you'd notice, yeah.
Yeah, it does sound like something I would notice.
I know. You're just speaking Chinese to me.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I'm just gonna put up my 3-minute video explaining this to you Luddites, but no, it's fine. We're moving on.
You don't need any more work.
You're so right. Okay, so my number 3. My number 3 is the Bloodstained demo.
This was a bad year for new video games, wasn't it, for you?
No, actually, I have a list here. I just need to explain. The Bloodstained demo feels so good, and it feels so properly solid in how it controls and everything else. Like, obviously, the game isn't done. There are some lighting things that need to be improved environmentally.
Those talking avatars that just use art, please.
I agree that art may have been better there, but that doesn't bug me as much as it seems to bug every other living being.
I just look at the mouth and then it just kills me.
It just zooms in so much you can't see their mouse. It's just like everyone sees the nose up.
It somehow looks worse than that sticker face that Kingdom Hearts characters get.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No,
I wish they had
the Kingdom Hearts sticker face.
Drawn in crayon. This face.
The Kingdom Hearts sticker face is the poor man's Mega Man Legends face.
Yeah, that's fair.
They did a recent Kickstarter thing where they showed off, hey, this is what the portraits look like now, which is still not art, but it does look better.
It does look better.
Okay, good. I don't keep up with anything Bloodstained because anytime I see the comments, people say it's doomed.
Fuck them. Anyway.
They canceled the Mac version. The game's canceled. It's ruined.
They're going to lose 0.3% of sales.
The Wii U version's not happening. Oh, no.
The Vita what happened to the Vita version?
So, yeah, no, that game
If Indie Creates was making this, it would have been fine.
That game feels fucking perfect. It really does. I pumped 20 hours into that demo, and honestly, I would have dumped more if I didn't stop myself, because I think I literally got everything without screen breaking. Yeah, that KZ, I am a giant Castlevania fan. They haven't made a fucking Igavania since fucking Order of Ecclesia. Do you know how long it has been? I know,
I'm jonesing for it. I just want that full experience.
And I get that. I do. I really, I respect that.
So I can dive face first in, fully prepared for the game to pop me up.
Yeah, we're absolutely going to be doing like plenty of streams and maybe some giveaways around that. That game made me feel
the Bloodstained cereal.
That from Funko. It's also blue, so Dan dies. Anyways, I feel like that game made me feel alive and intact. That demo made me feel alive and intact with gaming in a way that I part of me has felt dead for 8 years. 8 fucking years, or maybe 7. I can't remember if Order of Ecclesia was 2010 or 2011.
Dan.
No!
Dan,
it is
you're
not
fucking
extreme.
Insane. You're off the fucking goop, Dan.
No, check this out. Every Metroidvania feels like fucking dog shit because they're trying to feel like Metroid. If more Metroidvanias felt like fucking Castlevania, I would be way more okay with that as a genre. But they feel like fucking dog shit. Bloodstained feels perfect.
Brick by brick.
That's terrible. But no, that demo was really great. I dumped 20 hours in it. I would easily just run it again right now if I wasn't a very busy man. So there's that. I'm going to move on to my number 2, which is sadly the last one I get to talk about because, as I said, my number 1 was Smash Ultimate. Number 2 is Dragon Ball FighterZ. Dragon Ball FighterZ.
That's a good game.
Was incredible.
Yeah, that's good.
It is so good. It is the most enjoyable, a new fighting. Like, one, we don't get very many new fighting games, but we also get a nonstop barrage of really bad Dragon Ball games. And somehow this countered both of those trends. We got a really new feeling fighting game that is also a good Dragon Ball game. It has DLC music, so you could get We Gotta Power on it, which is the best Dragon Ball theme. It feels so responsive and crisp. They did such good squash and stretch animation on every single frame. They use references from the manga and the anime for every fucking attack. It looks so good. And mechanically, it is really deep. It has substance, but it is also incredibly approachable. Like, how do you do a launcher? You hold down and press circle. I was waiting for Bob to make that face of what, really? Even though I already know you know. What's up, KZ?
The amount of personality on display in that game is nuts.
Like the amount of hype in every single intro. Like the Cell intro where he yells and everyone in the crowd just screams. It's such a great game on a mechanical level and like an execution of polish level. And then there's that single player I'm never gonna play. Yeah, because I tried to for 2 hours and I'm like, oh, this is dog shit. I'm never coming back. Okay.
Just pay the money to unlock Android 21.
Luckily, she came with the season pass. I was really glad.
Yeah.
I paid for the absurd version of that game that was the season pass and the anime soundtrack.
Yeah.
I was like, this Arc System Works is making this. This looks like a fan fiction game. I'm going to get this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always really impressed with the fact that Arc System can do that with Unreal Engine 3. Like,
4 this time.
Is it 4 this time? Yep. Okay, they built the tech for it on 3, though, where they talked about keyframing, individual frames of animation and not tweening between them, hard coding the shaders per frame, so it's shaded like anime. It's shaded like a 2D image. Like, they do so much work with that, and it results in something that not only looks remarkable every frame of the way, it also feels really great. And
where they enlarge the limbs for certain like super attacks.
Yeah, they embiggen Android 16 as he dunks.
and then you get like the camera break mod, so it shows like Gohan's hand is really big when he's doing his level 3.
Yes.
I started losing it when I noticed playing as Vegito that his hands get incredibly large for his super, and then he just yells, "Here's the biggie."
Yep.
It's my favorite super quote ever now. Here's the biggie.
Also, not sure if people knew this, Broly is in that game, and Broly is raw.
He is Cooler's in that game, and he's raw as shit.
He'll probably be in the game twice.
He probably will.
The bad thing is, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, no. What was it?
Bring in Gogeta. We need another Goku.
Gogeta's also going to be in that game, KZ.
Hail Xeon during launch was pretty upset when it leaked that Goku original and Vegeta original were going to be in it. And me and Bob were like, you're stupid. We're going to buy that day one.
Goku original is going to have a spirit bomb. And he did. And it was great.
And it was hype. So,
his intro just being from the original anime opening.
Yep. You know, that's actually when Hail Xeon changed over his mode. That was that
is the most appeal to nostalgia I've ever seen.
Like, it might as well have been like, dun, 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 the moment he fucking leapt off of it. Oh, man, it's so good. It's so good. But my list
He's like,
is
what'd you think of that, Xeon? I bought it twice.
Basically, it's so good. But Bob, we're going to move to your list.
All right.
Keel's gonna cap us off. But Bob, what is your number 3?
This is all rough because like all the games I have on here have been talked about already, so I'm gonna try and not talk about those ones.
Yeah.
And I just kind of chew on games.
Let me guess, Bloodstained Demo is also on yours.
It was gonna be really bad because like the Devil May Cry demo might be up on
Devil May Cry 5 demo. Make me look like a sane man.
Right?
This 30-minute demo
absolutely
is
not.
Game of the Year.
It's like it's 15 minutes, but it makes me so happy.
What me and Bob are trying to say is Bloodstained and Devil May Cry 5 are coming out this year. We're both pretty happy. That's what we're trying to say.
I can't.
I agree with both of us. So yeah, this is gonna be a tight year.
I had a crisis of faith with gaming around the time Devil May Cry 1 happened, and that made me be like, oh, 3D games not made by Nintendo can be amazing.
Yeah.
Crisis of faith.
Well, Bob was stuck. You were stuck with an N64.
Yeah.
You didn't even get to play PS1 until really late.
Right.
And then PS2 even later. So by the
a lot
time
of like
he moseyed-
really rough 3D gaming.
But
for
then
me.
check this out. My older brother back in 2001 owned a PS2, and they released a version of Resident Evil Code Veronica X for the PS2. And we were like, we like Resident Evil. Let's rent this. Oh, what's this demo disc? It came with a demo disc when we rented it. And that demo disc was Devil May Cry 1, you guys. We may have played that demo disc more than we played. We definitely played it more than we played Resident Evil Code Veronica X.
no.
But we may have played it more than I played the Bloodstained demo.
It was a good demo.
There's only one demo disc I've ever had that had that much usage.
Tony Hawk 2.
One that came with a
Knew it.
Yeah,
Knew
Tony
it.
Hawk 1. I was
Us
gonna
too.
say.
Us too. Yeah, no, played the shit out of that demo. So good.
I recall having a demo disc that I think had Tomba on it
Yeah,
and Einhander
I also had that demo disc.
and like a few other things.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
We do
And I
not
remember
have
just
that
going,
demo disc.
Einhander looks like the coolest shit ever.
And now it's in Kingdom Hearts.
I win.
I had the one that had the Brave Fencer Musashi demo that had 3 different levels.
Yep, that
good
was
stuff.
it's a good demo. I have that too.
Let's see what else I got here.
So excluding demos.
Excluding demos.
I mean, you can include demos. Is Devil May Cry 5 demo? Are you willing to be that man?
I don't know. That might be too much. Let me go through the others, see how I feel.
Let me look at my real games first.
Bob has an internal.
Because I'm like, Smash Bros, Mega Man 11, those two are already gone. We don't need to talk about them anymore. They're just too good.
You can still make those. Whatever. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Soul Calibur 6 is real good.
It's on my list of
It is.
potentials.
I wish the story mode were better,
Yeah.
but it's still fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that there's way too much just, this is a visual novel and not, let me fight guys.
Yeah.
But that game is a lot of fun. It's good to see Soul Calibur back. Like,
Really good character creator.
yes. The way that the internet's taken off with that character creator is
Character
insane.
creator of the year.
Yes.
The guy who made Magikarp.
He's a
Oh,
fucking
so good.
champion.
The
He
fact
is.
that I was able to go in there and make Terra from Birth by Sleep and Terranort from Birth by Sleep and Richard Epcar's in it, so the voice matches.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep.
That is too good.
And it's like, all right, I gotta do the nightmare setup with it, and it's perfect.
Yeah. It was really cool when
And
I saw you did that.
And I felt good about making Botan from Yu Yu Hakusho, but that is way better.
That's good. That's real good.
It actually is pretty good.
We didn't finish God of War. I really want to, like, God of War is the best action game made by a Western developer I've ever played.
Yeah, I feel
But
really
I'm
bad that
halfway
we
through
didn't
it.
finish God of War. Otherwise, it would have been on my list of potentials.
It was a lot of fun.
Like,
I enjoyed it.
I like that it does a thing that isn't Devil May Cry, it isn't Bayonetta, but it also is very intelligently designed with how the hitting enemies feels and all the abilities you get. I do appreciate the feel of that game.
right.
a
The
lot.
integration of the Axtro is
I
actually
like that
really
they
neat.
patched
Yeah.
a way to skip cutscenes afterward too. So
Thank
I
God.
may eventually play it again.
You're right.
Oh, they did. That was the biggest reason I was never ever gonna replay it.
Yeah,
So
They
that
allow
makes-
in
you
that
to
Last
skip
of Us
the walk and talk stuff now.
Oh my god, that is such a fucking boon to that game.
So do you
Yeah, it
want
is.
to hear a cursed question that I got recently in regards to God of War?
Sure.
At first I got one related to floaty combat with Kingdom Hearts, but we're talking about Spider-Man, and I was like, what the fuck is happening to my life? But then I got, do you think the new God of War ripped off Kingdom Hearts 1 combat and fine-tuned it? They even have Strike Raid.
what on what planet? Like, what?
Whoa.
What?
Your Curious Cat exists in a very weird dimension, KZ.
You see, because in Kingdom Hearts 1, the camera is in your anus, which is somewhat similar to God of War's. And all also, you can throw a
crazy.
Keyblade, you can throw an axe.
I'm pretty sure that Star Wars invented throwing the magic thing. Like, I'm pretty sure that the Keyblade throw was in something before Kingdom Hearts came out.
I'm
Nope.
pretty sure this question was made to upset me, but I was more confused.
That's a fair reaction.
Oh my
Yeah, God
god.
of War's alright. I enjoyed
That's
it.
gonna haunt me. Thanks a lot. I'm gonna be thinking about that, just like I'm thinking about the guy who made the NeoGaf thread where he complained that Persona 5 forced him to admit it was fiction. I'm gonna be thinking about that fucking question for years, KZ.
Okay. Now I have a funny story about that specific guy. So you know when NeoGaf exploded due to the dude who showed his penis in the shower or some shit.
Yeah, the owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
I
the
can't
owner
remember.
Evil
I
Lord
can't-
did that.
Evil Lord. There we go.
Since I half paid attention, because I would go to certain threads that I actually cared about. I actually got into the Discord server when they were setting up the new site, because they're like, "Fuck it, we'll just make our own site that doesn't have that guy in it."
Yeah.
That same dude who was getting mad about Persona 5's negotiation thing showed up and said, "All right, you got to be more transparent. Show us all of your financials and every single thing. We need your names." He was getting so close to the point of like asking for docs for the people that are making this forum. Like, we need transparency. We don't need you guys like using the forum to like go on
Holy-
Spanish vacations.
Holy
he is
shit.
insane.
Holy shit.
And when I saw that the avatar matched the Persona 5 thread, I'm like, this is fucking hilarious.
How is this real?
I said that. I told him, "Are you being real?" He's like, "I'm being honest. We need to have a new start."
That isn't so insane when you remember that NeoGaf and Reset Era do not let you register with any email system at all.
Yeah, you have to have a paid
You have to
email.
have like an ISP email address.
Yeah, I used my internet company's email to get on that one.
Which
The second one I didn't.
Which that one simple thing ensures every single human being that posts on Reset Era or NeoGaf is a lunatic.
I am not a lunatic.
Yeah, I was gonna say
When was the last time you posted on either of those forums?
Like
a few hours ago.
I think maybe I'm in the Kingdom Hearts threads, the place of peace.
Who would have fucking thought?
You're still a brand of lunatic. You don't get off.
No, I honestly,
I didn't have to use an assumed email for this one. They just gave me a code.
He's a part of the in crowd. Yeah, no, I actually posted on NeoGaf a long time ago, but I only did it a few times because those people are crazy.
Oh, I ignore all the crazy threads. I just go into the ones where they're actually talking about a video game. It's very rare.
Where does he find those?
It's in the community tab.
They have to hide them.
You're right. They actually did a thing where they were gonna fuse community with the main thing, and people were like, "No, community threads suck. They deserve to die," and then it got rolled back.
Good lord.
So, Bob, did you have more?
Or any, because you haven't listed one, have you?
Well, I mean, Soul Calibur.
Okay,
let's
Soul
go
Calibur
say-
6 is your number 3.
Yeah, let's say
God
it's
of
number
War
3.
too.
God of War.
That's how we
God
got
of War's
into that.
number 2.
Sure.
Okay.
Even though I haven't beat it. God, I can't. Like, I didn't get
Really?
to finish games.
Really? Really? I thought I was going to struggle with this,
I
but I'm
mean,
sitting here and I'm like, I had backups.
Look. I played a lot of Monster Hunter. Dante's in that.
You're not wrong. Dante for the Devil May
Monster
Cry
Hunter
series
World is
Monster Hunter.
great. I played it at launch and kind of fell off because I did like 50 hours in 1 week.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I wish I were playing with people, because once I got super late game and started doing multiplayer, I was like, wow, this is just balanced around this and not really
I think
balanced
that's
for a
what
single
kept
player.
me in. Was just at the start, it was starting the game and then having like a big group of people just to cycle in and out as we just kept getting stuff and going, "Hey, I got the gem to drop," and then my friends getting mad, so I got more excited to play and get the rare drops that they didn't get, and that adds a plus modifier to my enjoyment.
Right? Anytime human suffering is involved, KZ gets really excited.
It's true.
It's because there's this meme that I always get the rare thing in games. Like, I'll always get, like, legendary stuff back in when I played Hearthstone or Overwatch. And it carried over to that.
So actually, my runner-up it was Mario Tennis Aces, but that single player just fucking hits a difficulty curve that is inescapable.
I wanted to talk about Valkyria Chronicles 4 because I'm like, that game is really cool that it happened. But I've only been able to get through the first few minutes.
I forget that happened, yeah.
Or first few missions.
Well, every time you tune into a stream, that's the dog hat that Bob wears.
Yes.
It's a great fucking hat.
I keep meaning to get it. I probably will at some point, but
You should get an Amy hat instead. I heard those are pretty good.
No, those are terrible nightmares because Amy Rose is the worst character in the Sonic fucking lore.
You're basically Vector the Crocodile.
Yeah, I would prefer Vector over fucking Amy Rose.
I like to imagine in Sonic Heroes when they do that Team Chaotic Super, you're just the crocodile just going, rah, rah.
Yeah, you just
That's
put
just you.
put the words input lag in there and you got it, man.
OLED!
So
Vector loves his OLED TV.
So
Is that a problem?
what was your number one? Was your number one Valkyria Chronicles, which you paid for 40 minutes? I don't. Bob, just give it the the Devil May Cry 5 demo. We both know you want to.
Whatever. My real list is number 1 Smash Bros, number 2 is Mega Man, number 3 is Devil May Cry demo.
Well, then why did you waste
They can
our time
still
with
be
these
your
lies?
numbers. They can still be it.
All right.
Bob, this is a gamer premonition.
Right. I can't just look. Although
my number one's still Smash Ultimate. You know, KZ can't change that by it being his.
Okay.
That game means so much to me.
That's your Frozen, number 1.
No, my Frozen's number 0 out of 4, but I feel like that game is so good and so special in a way that only the Bloodstain demo can rival. That if Bloodstain came out, it would have been my number 1, but I digress. Mr. Feel.
Okay, KZ stole my number 1. My number 1 was Dragon Quest 11, but I have plenty. So
I've brought 35
Yakuza-
Game of the Years.
Yakuza Kiwami 2. 3 Yakuza games came out in 2018.
Yeah.
Kiwami 2 was the best one.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, number 2 was really good, so that doesn't surprise me.
So the remastered 2 being good, not a surprise.
And they really it uses the same engine as 6, but they really learned it's a dramatic improvement from 6.
Wow.
It feels better. The rough edges are polished off. They added a couple sub-stories that are really funny. There's one where Kiryu gives advice to the director of a series of Yakuza movies, but the series of Yakuza movies is a reference to the games, because it's like 1 and 2 were really well received, but then 3 was kind of goofy and people kind of didn't like that one as much. And Kiryu's like, oh, it doesn't matter as long as it has a good emotional core. And it was good.
The orphanage.
I'm really great that's how that concludes,
tax
and
shelter.
not kind of like Jurassic Worlds where it concludes with "man, fans." Am I right?
My second would be Celeste. It's just it's virtually perfect. Unless
I really enjoyed it.
Unless you hate 2D platformers, I guess. It has a really good story that is more focused on people with certain conditions, but is still universally applicable.
Yeah.
Yep.
It
has
has
comedy that actually hit, in my opinion.
it has incredible music.
Oh yeah.
It's Super Meat Boy, but good.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Keep hammering on that drum.
But is this
and
as
just
important
so I
for
have
people
3
as Hellblade?
Yeah. Is this as progressive as Senua's what? Agony? I don't know. Senua's Wrath.
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Yeah,
Hellblade.
her
Senua's
sacrifice was fucking selling herself out to Microsoft.
All right, now at first I got confused when you said Senua, and I was like, "Isn't that the Tokyo RPG Factory game?"
Oh my god.
What is the name of it?
Setsuna.
Oh, I am Setsuna. Oh,
I am
God.
Setsuna, and then Lost Sphere, which is apparently just as uninteresting.
I mean, it
No, I've
looks
played that
With
one
the
at least.
worst
It
way to
looks-
spell that name.
it looks
So I don't really know what I can go as my third, except I do because I played 80 hours of it in December, which would be Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition.
Yeah. That
Where
that
I'm
game,
like, I'm gonna buy this on a whim, and then I sat down and my brain just shut off, and 8 hours had passed, and that happened multiple times.
that game is great for that.
The only thing that moved you was Smash.
Yeah, I Hyrule Warriors, many of the Dynasty Warriors spin-offs aren't very good. They don't have enough polish or love for what they're doing, but I feel like the Hyrule Warriors is so good. Like they try so hard, and it is so
That's
much
because
fan service and is amazing.
Nintendo spin-offs are always good because Nintendo's just like, we'll just cancel it if you don't make it good.
I mean, isn't that great? Don't you respect that? God.
I do. That's one of the things that makes me overall like Nintendo, even as they do stupid things.
Right, and like that's the thing. When you see the moves for Microsoft where they cancel a bunch of games, you get the feeling that they didn't even try to make it good in the first place. Like
Almost like it's some scheme to buy the dev.
I don't know about that.
Platinum. What?
I would never.
Dan,
What a
you don't think a
idiot.
company would do that, right? Surely a company wouldn't be like, hey, make a game for us. We won't orchestrate ways not to pay you so that we have to give you credit and then we own you at the end.
Yeah, that's not a completely normal practice in the game industry that's completely fucked. That's not that at all.
That would
What
never
about
happen.
Destiny? Let's go
Where's
back
the
to that news
multiplayer
story.
features?
Like four different companies didn't attempt to do that to Obsidian until Microsoft finally succeeded.
God, that's depressing. We just got more and more depressing for me on very personal levels because we were like, here's
That's because
I
the
Am
podcast
Setsuna.
has been going so long that you're just getting sad.
It went long enough where I Am Setsuna came up, which is how you know it's time to end another episode of Big Think Dimension. Thank you all for listening. Be sure to come
But
back.
Dan,
What?
where can our loving fans send questions for next week's episode since our technical issues are resolved?
Oh, you can send your questions for next week to btd@gigaboots.com. That's Big Think Dimension as an acronym at gigaboots.com.
In addition, where and what is coming out in terms of content for you GigaBoots?
Oh, well, I'm really glad you asked. So, of course, on Sunday, we have our Dream Drop Distance all-day stream with the famous KZXcellent from KZXcellent.com.
I hear he gets on NeoGAF.
He's one of those influencers. We are also doing our Mega Maker Live later today. So stop on by, submit your Mega Maker levels, or just watch as we
You're
agonize
gonna be
through
dead
some...
by the end of that stream.
Oh, yes, I am. Absolutely. Bob will turn into stone. Like, in front of your eyes, he will become a golem.
The music is so good, it's so good, and then Dan just turns to stone.
and then next Wednesday,
Ludonarrative dissonance.
Next Wednesday, we're coming out with the final Kingdom Hearts 3 Gamer Premonitions. This is our lore predictions for Kingdom Hearts 3. It is going to be 17 hours long. It is never going to stop.
If you're aware of that scene in JoJo Part 3 where Dio and Jotaro are just standing at each other and their stands are fighting, that's going to be me and KZ.
You're getting close to Kino.
And me and Bob will just sit there and judge them on a scale of 1 to 10 instead of actually having any predictions ourselves.
So what did you think of these predictions? 1 out of 4?
Dan will be Kakyoin and be embedded in a water tower.
That actually is going to do it for our content we have coming up. KZ, what do you have coming up?
All right, so I've been working my way through one of the Trails in the Sky games so that people on Twitter can shut up.
Oh man, I love
I've
tits.
been working on that. It's been a relatively good time. A little bit lagging behind because those Kingdom Hearts streams slightly kill me. And working on that.
Well, they are really funny.
They are. They're a good knee slapper. Been working on the Kingdom Hearts series LP I've been doing, because since KH3 is coming out, I need to finish up the last few games I did not cover yet on that, and that'll start coming out in the next week or two. And that's about it for me. Just a bit transitional, waiting for KH3 obviously to come out so I can start working on that.
So he can be free.
It'll be a moment. Yeah, it'll be a moment.
It really will.
Mr. Field, you're a big content creator. What do you got coming up?
Well, no promises, but I might be doing something with the upcoming game Yick. YIIK. It's coming out next Friday, I believe.
Whoa.
And I might find something to do with that because it's kind of been on my radar for 2 years since the demo came out.
Dude, that's awesome. That's
You
actually
know, I had to Google this because I thought this was a bit where you didn't have anything you were gonna do.
That's actually amazing. I'm not sure if you two planned this, but that's going to sync up perfectly with Bob's Bayonetta video essay coming out.
That is not happening next week.
That's going to come out on Friday. You heard it here first. Next Friday, Bob's Bayonetta
Oh, I thought you
video.
meant this Friday today.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no,
It's
that's
good to
not.
see Bob getting into this.
I'm lying.
It's just going to open with Bob tied to a chair and Dan pointing a gun at his head and just saying, "Talk!"
the video
Touch the gun,
opens
it'll
up.
pass it on to your children.
The video essay opens up with Bob going, "The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines Bayonetta as not found."
Bayonetta didn't die, it was murdered.
So that's all exciting. I hope you guys stick around, support the podcast. We're going to be launching a Patreon soon for the GigaBoots podcast. That includes this and Gamer Premonitions and the other shows we're going to be running. So that way we can support the show and put more effort into it, because God knows we love it. And we've received so many positive emails. We've received so many positive emails over the last 86 episodes from you guys on the Big Think Dimension. So thank you so much for your support. We'll see you next week for another episode of Big Think Dimension, which I think, oddly enough, we're numbering episode 2. I don't know why we're doing that, but oh well. The executive producers for the months of January 2019 are Fitz Povert, Nicholas Cameron, Ely Boyles, Brendan O'Sullivan, Star Falcon, Spaceman Spiff, Danny Richardson, Dwyzart, and Wadanas. Thanks, everybody. And also, these guys, oh, their names are gone. If you want to help us make more videos, go over to patreon.com/GigaBoots today. This is a really catchy song.